Melody has been physical with him. She's even thrown glass at him on the show.
Wait.
I think that,
Okay.
well, I do think,
Has a response,
no,
right?
listen, I do think,
Let's talk about the court documents that alleged from Melody's lawyer that he is choking and punching Melody's son. He is threatening revenge porn, naked videos. Let's listen to women. Let's stop making excuses for men.
it's an issue to me to excuse any type of physical violence.
That's why I beat your ass that time.
Oh no! These
And let a man say something like that.
Just because Melody is a woman doesn't mean she's allowed.
Hey, it's a brotherhood. Woohoo!
Melody Shari has taken additional precautions after Martell was arrested for harassing communications and domestic violence. He was charged with both.
Being arrested for, text messaging, harassing communications, that threw me for a loop. A text message.
And it's sad. It's so sad.
I sent about 8 sentences. I think it was something more like if you don't stop, I'm gonna treat you how you treat me. That was it.
Martell sent Melody a threatening text message where he says that he's going to release a sex video that features both Martell and Melody.
Okay. Attached was a picture. Attached was a picture.
When you have somebody arrested for some like that.
Do you know he literally took a video that he and I did and called himself was going to have it released on another Instagram account to pretend that it was another man.
Now, Damian, you have worked on Love Marriage Huntsville for 2 seasons as a producer. You know this cast on a professional level. Is this the worst it's ever been?
I mean, I guess you could say it's the worst it's ever been, but to me, at the same time, it's always been this way. And this is going to sound a little harsh because I really do care about them both, but they both, in my opinion, I think it's time to just grow up. This has been going on for a while, the constant back and forth. Your children are watching. This is going to be public for them to see. They have to go to school. And it really is sad at the end of the day, but it's been going on forever from the get-go.
Victor, what do you think?
The confessional that he had in which he was explaining, he was saying, all I said was these 8 sentences. And I just said, I'll do to you what you did to me. But then I kind of attached a picture. You attached a screenshot of a video of you both naked to threaten her with revenge porn. You were like, but I may have attached a picture. Are you serious? The way he's underplaying it down to just a few sentences, to victimize himself and make it look like it was so unreasonable, and he is trying to play this victim role. It's ridiculous. You sued her for full custody of your children because she had too many babysitters, because her brother, you didn't want around the children, allegedly. So you sued her.
That's not alleged. That's the truth. Sorry, Victor. The gay brother. Go ahead.
Let's talk about the court documents that alleged from Melody's lawyer that he is choking and punching Melody's son.
Eric, Martell says that these texts are a year old. He makes sure to include that in his scene with his mother. Do you think that detail even matters?
No, I think that we need to stop excusing men being violent towards women. I think that we need to protect women more than we protect an image of a man. I don't care when you send it, that's the mother of your child. And for you to sit there and to be even threatening to her in any way, shape, or form is disgusting. I think you can tell that people coddle him in his life or have coddled him in his life. That little scene with his mother was very uncomfortable. You are a father, you're like 45 years old, you're not going to allow me to run because someone said something bad about you. That's just very weird. That's very toddler-esque, and I think that we as a society need to stop giving them those passes because something's a year old. Maybe she had reservations about sending her father, the father of her children, to jail.
Yeah.
She's allowed to have those reservations.
Yeah.
She should have those reservations. It shows that she's a real person. Even if she is, you can call her dramatic or whatever you want to call her, because a lot of people tend to go that route when it comes to women. Regardless of that fact, you sent her these threatening messages. She done gave you a chance, and you acted a fool.
Right. I think it's important to listen to Melody.
Yeah.
Listen to her
Mhm.
words, listen to her experience, listen to what Melody is saying. We have to listen to Melody. And I think a lot of times, I think it's fair to even believe Melody, because Melody
Yeah.
has admitted to being physically abusive to Martell.
Mm-hmm.
Melody has said that repeatedly.
That's why I beat your ass that time.
Oh no! Oh, Jesus Christ!
Sure
All right,
did.
so we're gonna be right back with more Love and Marriage Huntsville when we return.
And let a man say something like that. Let a man say something like that.
And I think it's very dangerous for folks to call Martell dangerous.
Wait. Okay.
Well, I do think
Trump has a response.
no,
Right?
listen, I do think that we have to be very careful with our words,
No.
because Melody did make it clear Martell has never been physically abusive to me. She has said that.
Okay. Let
She
me
said that. And domestic violence, people might get the impression that he's been physical with her. And from Melody words, that's not true. Melody has been physical with him. She's even thrown glass at him on the show.
Okay, so let me jump in. So first of all, we don't know how much Melody has exposed. I'm sure there is more stuff that she has been reluctant to share. Second of all, she's alleged in court documents that there was court mandated therapy with his children that he didn't show up to. He also allegedly choked and punched that Melody's son. So he did that too. And they aren't allowed to talk badly about each other. That's part of in the courts thing. And he was showing the children videos of Melody on dates with men and speaking about it. That type of behavior, the revenge porn. This time, there's nothing that I wouldn't go on to believe. The fact that there is this type of behavior, the fact that there is violence allegedly towards the children, that should be enough to character.
And that's who I feel sorry for, the children.
This person's dangerous.
They're paying the most.
Putting his hands on children. He should not be trying to manipulate he's trying to manipulate their perception of a parent. Yeah. He's putting his hands on them. He is threatening revenge porn, naked videos exposing a woman. What type of person does this? And there is probably more that, because Melody's a classy woman, I think there's a lot she held back, and I think it was hard for her to file that report and to get him arrested.
Yeah, I agree.
There's more that she hasn't exposed. Let's listen to women. Let's stop making excuses for men. Let's stop.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yes. I think you're right about that. Let's listen to women. Let's listen to Melody's words. And Victor, there's an issue with treating allegations as true. I don't even want to look at the allegations as much as I look at Melody's words. As much as I look at Melody's words, hold on. I listen to you. As much as I'm looking at Melody's words and what she's admitted to doing to Martell, she says she's been physical with him. Can you picture it? Picture it if Martell was the one that bragged. Because for me, Melody was bragging about being physical with Martell.
Now, I don't know the dude, you know what I'm saying? And don't get at me, y'all. But one of the questions on here, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Mm-hmm. Was Martell ever physically abusive?
No, I mean, me and Martell, I will say this, Martell and I had our moments like some people probably do, but I'm not one of those women who ever gonna just be, I personally am not one of those women who, I'm kind of let me see how I can say it. I'm kind of strong in the sense of I'm not one who would sit around and be abused physically.
It look like you a type, and I'm a Scorpio too. You probably would be doing the abusing. Like you look like you'll slap the shit out of somebody. I'm just saying. I'm just speaking.
Thank you for that. Thank you for saying that without me having to say that.
It look like
if it the
But they're not on the
roles
same
were
playing
reversed, it would
field.
be a different conversation.
But they're not on the same playing field. A man has more power over a woman. So if they're not on the same playing field, it's not equal. And secondly, some of the biggest form of abuse is mental. You talk to people who've been part of cults, you talk to people who've been part of very abusive relationships. 9 times out of 10, physically, they probably could have left. And what keeps them in is mentally. What people do mentally to you, the way they break you down, build you back up, and make you feel needed by them. You talk to anybody with childhood trauma, especially for a Black woman in the South, going to be exposed to that much more than he will. And you could hear the way he speaks to her, the way he speaks to other people. He's very ugh. Even like I rewatched the first seasons, and you from the first episode, he thinks his stuff don't stink.
It is
Period.
an issue. It
I
is an issue to me. It's an
actually,
issue to me to excuse any type of physical violence. Just
actually,
because Melody is a woman doesn't mean she's allowed. She's admitted to it. It's not an allegation. I want to
No,
believe
no.
Victor's words. Let's believe Melody. We shouldn't excuse it just because she is a woman. It's not
But
okay.
it's not only because she's a woman, but if you look at the perspective of it, she's also not going to. She can't. How can she truly beat her child without putting her child at risk? She can only admit to her faults. Do you see him admitting to his faults? No. So I think that the playing fields are not the same. So I don't think we can judge it the same.
and actually, Eric, it's worse. You were talking about the fact that she wants to leave him, but he has this mental hold on her. It's more than that. She's tried to leave in the past, and he's removed all the furniture and all her assets, so she wasn't able to leave.
That's
He
scary. That's
manipulated
so
and controlled
scary.
her. That type of control, that type of power dynamic, Melody's track record has shown that a lot of her actions were reactionary and in response to the type of abusive behavior that Martell had. I think reacting is different from acting.
Yeah. Can I say this? Because I want to make sure
Yeah.
that this is clear and it's out there because I would hate for one of them to see this. Or I would hate for Melody to see this. And the only thing that she get from this conversation is me saying that they need to grow up. Because while I do stand by that, I'm only saying that because and not in this situation. I'm not saying she needs to grow up in this situation. Because Mitch, you had asked me, is this the worst that it's gotten? I'm speaking from an overall sense. I think the viewers and myself and all of us are just so tired of the Melody Martell of it all. But this is their
Yeah.
real life, and this is what they're going
Mhm.
through in real time.
Yeah.
So that's where I think my grow
Mhm.
up comment came from. However, when it comes to this situation here, the question has been asked: is she right for calling the police on her children's father? And I went back and forth with that, and I think it's something that you can't really speak on unless you're in that situation. Because I said to
Yeah.
myself, I wouldn't have done that. I say to myself, I wouldn't have done that. But then again, I'm not in that situation. I'm not in the public eye to where I have as many people watching me as Melody does. So maybe that shame, humiliation, all these people are going to see this. And like Eric said, maybe she had a year to think about it and went back and forth, but Martell knew better. He's done a lot of messed up stuff. And this one was, like you said, Mitch, is this the worst? It was pretty low. I mean, come on now. They have laws in place to protect us for things like this now. And I think if Martell is not careful, you know, they may end up backing away from him because he's already pissed Carlos off one time more than one time, but recently by saying that the show is scripted and they're all actors. And it's like you keep doing little things, they don't have to have you there.
You're looking at the text message. The text message says that he wants Melody to stop something. I'm really curious about what the context of that text message was all about. Because I think it better informs us on what Martell is referring to. He's telling her to stop something, or I will da da da. It's not
I'm pretty sure
okay.
it's bullying, Mitch.
Sorry?
I'm pretty sure the text said, "Please stop bullying."
Yeah.
But what?
that's what she.
But what was?
Was
What's
she
the
doing the bullying?
context? What happened?
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
he
think
said
that
something against her.
we're not starting these conversations at the beginning, which is pretty tough because
Hmm.
I think it's important to start the conversation at the beginning. We're sort of starting this conversation with this text and Melody and Martell in the middle. What happened at the very start of this whole thing?
But after this, like, I hope she can find some sort of balance to where he can see the kids and they don't even have to speak. Because here's the thing, when I break, and you can't tell somebody how to deal with their ex, but any past relationship that I'm in, I just try to put my pride and ego to the side. I wish you the best. Let's move on. I don't want to do the fighting and the drama. But at the end of the day, when it comes to her calling the police on her um children's father, I do want to say that I stand by her with doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you. I might not have done it, but I'm not in those shoes.
Everyone looking in, make sure you like this video and the Bros of Bro Chat will be back. We'll see you again next time. Okay. All right, good job, everyone. We are talking about Destiny's perception. I think it's an issue when Destiny treats her perception as being true.
Right.
But it is true to her.
Is it true to the extent to call Melody a liar?
Right.
Well, it seems like Melody said something that she's not owning up to. Melody has been caught many times producing.
You've never been supportive in Melody in any bro chat video debates before, and suddenly today you believe her, but you've never believed her before. In fact, you even accused her of domestic abuse against Martell.
Let me make it very clear.
Melometers activate. I think we have a traitor in our midst.
Oh,
someone snuck into the club, honey. Security, out!
Hey, it's a brotherhood. Woohoo!
Bros, Melody actually says that she went to check on Destiny in her room during the girls' trip. And when she checked on Destiny, she heard a click.
First sat down to speak to her, to Destiny. I remember hearing a click on the phone that sounded like a recording. And I remember I said, oh, you recording me?
Yeah. So was there somebody else in the room? Like,
no, Melody was going to. Melody says that she was being a great hostess. She's all about hospitality. She went to each woman to check on them and say, hey, how are you feeling? Are you enjoying yourself? She was doing that to everyone. So this was a one-on-one. And actually, there were no cameras in the rooms.
If it was true, I don't see them ever having a pathway to their friendship ever coming back again. You know what I'm saying? I think that will be the end, because when you do things like that, I think it's hard to ever trust again.
I want to hear Destiny's take on it. I want to see what Destiny has to say about that. Did she really record her? Did she not record her?
If there was a recording, if Destiny was recording Melody, that confirms there is no trust. You can tell that Melody's struggling to even consider forgiving Destiny for different things, whether it be what Destiny said about Melody's mom being a pimp, or this whole accusation of respectfully cheating, how Melody was okay with it. Victor, what do you think?
If it is true and you were hitting the record button, then you should have done it when she was telling you about Coach and the other woman. That's when you should have hit the record button, because you had that on receipt. Then it'd be a lot more credible. I don't think that Melody was having a conversation with someone Martell was intimate, saying, when is he coming to your house? Let me know when, let me know where.
Never. Yes, you were. Never. You were trying to teach her how to respectfully cheat.
You're sitting here saying that I was teaching her how to cheat
That's
with
what
my husband.
That's what I perceived it to be.
That's the stupidest thing ever.
Well, that's how I perceived it, because there ain't no way in hell I'm going to be talking suicide chick and telling her what to do and how to do it.
Let me schedule it out, honey. Let me schedule out his other sex life. I think that sounds very far-fetched. So I think in this situation, I believe Melody. And I think with Destiny, it's a very big statement. You should have receipts. You should have a voice note. You should have a text message. You should have something tangible if you're going to make such a big claim, because that person is going to refute it. I believe Melody in this situation, but even if Destiny was telling the truth, you need some type of receipts and evidence to back up what you're saying.
Well, the thing about it is, Damian, Melody has previously supported the concept of respectfully cheating.
Let's say Martell decided he wanted to go out and cheat in a disrespectful manner. And by disrespectful, I mean anybody is calling my phone.
Is
or
it a respectful way to cheat?
Well, it kind of sort of is. It's one thing if you're cheating and your partner never knows.
Do you think she still holds those views?
I don't know if she still holds the views, but she says that she never said that. But she said that. She has said that before. And here's another thing too. Melody and Arionne, they talked a lot. When you've been cheated on, I don't know if any of you guys have, but I have. And when you've been cheated on, you do things that you may not have normally done, that you may on the outside looking in think, oh, that's crazy, I would never do. But in the past, when I've been cheated on, I've contacted people that my exes were messing with. Hey, what's going on? Can you trying to form some sort of trust in a way to get information out of them, you know? So, I mean, I just wish Mel would be honest about it and say, you know, I was going through a really dark time. And when you're going through things like that, you do dumb SHIT.
Right. Eric, what do you think about this whole thing?
I think Melody might have said some stuff and might have done some stuff that alluded to what Destiny's saying. Having talked to Destiny, having seen her, the way she moves, I don't see her as a liar. I don't see her as someone that's just going to pull or fabricate something and just make up a storyline. She doesn't seem like that type of chick to me.
Right. Well, let me say, oh, sorry?
People are masochists.
What's that?
A masochist is someone who enjoys essentially like pain. So like people who like go to the same man who keeps breaking up with them, there's a part of them that enjoys that.
I don't think Melody's a masochist. I don't.
I think she can be. I think she can be a little bit. I can see the way that she moves and the way she kind of always accepts him and stuff. I can see her being a little bit of a masochist.
I don't think she enjoys pain. I think she's tried to be committed, but I don't think that's her enjoying pain and enjoying punishment, which is why she's trying to reach out and coach different people, etc. I don't see that for her. I think she was just trying to be committed.
Let me jump into this because I do want to say that we are talking about Destiny's perception, which is Destiny's assumption of what she heard in that conversation. And I think it's an issue when Destiny treats her perception as being true.
Right.
But it is true to her.
It's true to her, but is it true? Is it true to the on the phone? Is it true to the? Is it true to the situation though?
And is it true? Is it true to the extent to call someone else a liar? To call Melody a liar?
Right.
Well, it seems like Melody said something that she's not owning up to. And it's the way
I don't think Melody was
like she might have said
someone
something she didn't agree with, and they're trying to switch it up.
One at a time. So I can hear you. One at a time. Victor, finish that.
Yeah, I think she used the term coaching specifically, but that is as Mitch said, that is a perspective. And you are not entitled
giving her
over your perspective to tell me more, that you know more about my relationship and that I'm lying about my relationship.
But that's not what she's saying, though. She's saying what she heard is what happened. And Melody's saying you didn't hear that. That's what she's calling her a liar about. She said you did say that. Maybe the context was wrong, but you did say that.
What you two are talking about, the points you two both have on this, is completely valid. We're talking about perception.
Right.
Destiny's perception of what she heard. It would be, I would call it a misunderstanding if Destiny didn't go so hard on saying that this Melody is lying.
Yeah.
Destiny's going hard on Melody saying, no, this is what happened. This is the fact. This is what happened on that phone call. It's not a miscommunication. She's accusing Melody of lying because of her perception, which is not a fact. Is the big point.
But the difference is, if she is saying that she said something that she didn't say, then she is lying. Nah. Melody has been caught many times producing. Saying it is a fact that that's what she's done. That is not something Destiny's really done. So if you're taking two different, if I'm going by what I see,
I sympathized with Destiny while she was sitting there because you could tell she was getting so frustrated because it seemed so fake and phony. You know what was said. You know that you and Arionne have had conversation after conversation after conversation. You've been to this girl's house. Huntsville is very small. Like, let's stop pretending. And that's my issue with Melody. It's all about image. She is so worried about her image and looking a certain way. We appreciate authenticity. Girl, just say what it is. There's tons of women out here who've taken their man back and said, look, if you're going to keep effing her, don't make me look stupid. That's respectful cheating right there.
Right. Okay. Well, I do want to change gears because on that staircase, Destiny apologized to Melody. And that gave me the impression that Destiny knew what she was saying, that there was flaws in her point, that there was flaws in Destiny's point that she was making. That's what my perception was. You're apologizing to Melody at that staircase for the whole accusation of that she was okay with what was going on with the mistress. Like, she knew that she crossed the line, is how I saw it.
I think she apologized because it's like, I'm sorry that it's gotten to this. I'm sorry that we're sitting here in St. Thomas going low blow after low blow, because these are not two women who were casted together. These are two women who were friends. Martell and Destiny went to college together. She met Melody through Martell and they became friends years ago. So I think it's like, you know what? I'm like, it would be almost
relationship.
Because I don't think Destiny saying that is her taking back what she said and saying, oh, I lied. Like claiming that Destiny slept with Martell. Yeah, be careful what we say. That's very damaging perception, right?
Listen, I think we have to be responsible for what we say. We have to make people responsible for the words that come out of their mouth. Because for instance, I know that for Victor in our last recording said that I have a bias towards Black women because of the color of someone's skin all by itself. It's important that we really make sure that we don't just say things and then think it could be forgotten and forgiven with an apology all by itself. Because I don't expect Melody to forgive so quickly, because I wouldn't, and I haven't.
I think what I was speaking on maybe could have been intensified, but I think there's validity in what I was saying. I think when it comes to you, we're talking about Erica Mena, who called someone who was dark skinned a monkey.
I just don't believe in cancel culture or canceling anyone.
And you saying there's a path to forgiveness and resolution based off that, which is kind of horrific. I think when there's a path to forgiveness towards Jenny Wan and her saying, this is the demographic America needs to see, and it's a Black girl hurting a white child, and you're saying there's a path to resolution on that.
With Jen destroyed lives. Jenny, she offended people. It's shocking to me that the door is open for Jen Shah, and then for Jenny, she doesn't even get a conversation. I think that's unfair.
There's kind of been a repeated history, even with Garcelle.
Why should we treat Garcelle any differently than any other housewife? The only person that seems entitled on this season, it's Garcelle saying that she wants...
So you are saying Garcelle is entitled?
There's kind of a history where it's more on the Black women. And it's surprising to me in this conversation that you are supporting Melody, because the last time we were talking about Melody and Martell, you didn't believe Melody. You believed Martell in that situation.
Right. Well, today is a new day. Today is a new bro chat.
A new Mitch.
And no, not a new Mitch. Not a new Mitch. It's the same Mitch. But listen, I think listen, just listening to what Victor just said just now, listening what Victor said just now, and also looking at the previous recording where Victor, you did apologize to me, but then here you're explaining away why I have a bias towards Black women. That's why I think it's important, for instance, with Melody, we shouldn't take someone's apology. When we say something, we can't take back words. Especially when we go out of our way. Especially when we go out of our way. Especially when we go out of our way to explain it away the way you just did, of why I do have a bias towards Black women.
Wait, Victor, you really believe that?
Again, as I said, I apologize because I feel like it was an intensified.
No, what is the answer to that? Do you?
Well, you have to let me answer if you want to.
Okay, I'm listening for it.
So you can sit back for a minute and let me answer it. So I said I think it was kind of a bit of a dramatic of a statement to say that you have a bias, but I do think you struggle to understand the perspective when it comes to our debates with Black women, or you think there's an easy resolution for something that's unacceptable, and that's to me, because there is no resolution to me when a dark-skinned woman is called a monkey. There's no resolution, there's no forgiveness, and there shouldn't be a path back to the show. In the same instance to what Jenny Wen said, when you're talking about George Floyd and that incident not being race-related, when you're talking about a Black girl hitting a white child, and this is the demographic America needs to see, when I'm talking about children, then to me, there's a struggle to understand when you're saying there should be a path to resolution on those specific situations.
Yeah.
So that's just
but
my
listen,
opinion.
I think it's important to explore those contexts of how I said things and when I said things. But this is the reason why when people give an aftermath apology, the way Victor did the last recording, and then now we're seeing his true thoughts, his true feelings about me.
Well, I clarified.
Well, listen, I
clarified.
I listened to you earlier just now. This is the reason why people just get like Melody and Destiny giving an apology. When people give an apology, that doesn't mean it's just forgiven and forgotten so quickly. We got to take time and really find out how people really feel. Like I'm realizing right now, and just like with Melody, I don't expect Melody to quickly forgive because I wouldn't and I haven't, based on what you're saying to me.
Well, I'm saying there's a difference.
Because you said that, because actually you said that what you said, you were wrong. And now you're explaining how you're so
wrong.
right.
But I'm saying there's a difference. I find it funny how suddenly the video that you want to call me out is the first video that you're supporting Melody, someone who you said you didn't believe in the past, who you suddenly.
Well, listen, let me make it very clear. I will critique. That is what I do, what we do on Bro Chat. We have spirited debates that are centered around respect and brotherhood. And just because me, as a Black man, critiquing a Black woman, critiquing Melody, it doesn't mean that I mean any disrespect. It doesn't mean that I have a bias towards Black women, which is something that you said in our last recording, and you explaining away how that's acceptable and that how it's correct for you to say something like that to me.
You've never been supportive in Melody in any Bro Chat video debates before, and suddenly today you believe her, but you've never believed her before. In fact, you even accused her of domestic abuse against Martell in the past video. You accused her of being abusive towards Martell.
No, I didn't accuse her. I am repeating Melody's words. Melody did say, listen, I look at the facts. I believe people when they speak. And Melody did say that she was physical with Martell. We'll flash it. Because Melody has admitted to being physically abusive to Martell. Melody has said that repeatedly.
That's why I beat your ass that time.
Oh, no. Oh, Jesus Christ.
All right, so we'll be right back with more Love and Marriage Huntsville when we return.
And let a man say something like that. Let a man say something like that.
She said that. And that was my point. My point was centered around Melody's words. Listen, you can disagree with me on Bro Chat. That's what we do. But I'm talking about Melody's words specifically at that time in that recording. That's really what it boils down to.
I do think you have a struggle to understand. So let's be clear on what I said.
You said that today. You said that just now. If you look at the recording. But listen.
And then I apologize in the last recording for saying that you have a bias.
Yeah, and then you explained away today. But
no, but I said, listen, I'm explaining the validity behind what I was saying.
Right.
I think what was happening, I think you two are mad at each other and you're not communicating well together. Mitch, I think what he was trying to say was when you brought up the fact that you guys had argued before, what he was doing was providing facts on why he felt that in that moment. I don't think that he was trying to validify it in this moment. I don't think Vic is trying to say something that's hurting you, and I don't think you're trying to take in the same. I think it's just miscommunicating. But when you hear it, it doesn't sound as crazy as you guys are taking it. Oh my God, my hair.
Right.
That's
All right.
true. That's
Yeah.
what Eric said is how I feel.
And Mitch, I understand where you're coming from in the sense of like, if
Yeah.
we are chill about it, why are we bringing it up again? I get where you're coming from with that, 100%.
Right. All right. So I listen.
Girl,
I
I'm trying to have your back.
No,
man.
Eric, you're
Bread.
no really, Eric. That's why I love you and we need you on Bro Chat. I don't know. I don't feel any different about that.
Melometers, activate. I think we have a traitor in our midst.
Oh,
Someone snuck into the club, honey. Security, out!
oh, Lord. All right. Well, listen. Everyone looking in. Destiny and Melody. Let us know who you believe in this situation, and
we have an imposter.
Oh, whatever. Now, Carlos King celebrated a Huffington Post article that called Love Marriage Huntsville the messiest show that you should be watching. Now, fans are noticing that in Carlos King's caption, he thanks Huffington Post for acknowledging his creation. While Melody Shari gave Carlos the initial idea for a show, Carlos King's the one that brought it to our screens. Damian, working professionally with Love and Marriage Huntsville as a producer, do you see an issue with what Carlos King said in his caption?
No, and I feel like it's being taken more personal than what it really is. It is his creation, and you said that Melody brought him the show. They brought a home improvement type show to him. Her and her husband were going to rebuild homes or something like that. Carlos said, "I specialize in ensemble. Do you have any friends?" They casted the friends, and it turned into what I like to say, like the Real Housewives of OWN. Well, I think he's right. It's his property. If you, Mitch, if you were to go sell Bro Chat to MTV, it's their property now. You might be the executive producer, but you no longer own it unless you just got a special contract or something.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Victor, what do you think about this whole thing? I see your face.
Oh no, I mean not me.
Oh, yes. The
So
angel
no,
of Bro Chat. Yes, honey.
I actually agree. For once, I actually agree on this situation with Carlos King. I do think this is the messiest show on television, and I do think it's thanks to him for being a hot mess express in every aspect of the production, having the most kind of unprofessional conduct in the production of your network, speaking on YouTube and laughing about your cast members going to jail. I think you can see on the Love and Marriage DC, having a whole year where you're not telling anyone what to do and where they are and just having a break for absolutely no reason and no one knows what's going on. I think that's completely unprofessional. I think it's unprofessional that one of your producers ended up dating the man of someone that they were the story producer for after the show, and then you brought them back and gave them a platform. I think it is, a dumpster truck on fire. Rather than is it Carlos to credit, I think it's Carlos to fault. So that's how I look at it.
You think it's Carlos's fault, you said?
Yeah, it's a Hot Mess Express, the show. And he's laughing, giggling, and falling out of his chair when people are going to jail. And he's giggling about his cast members every week with Heavenly. I don't think that's
Dubai took that long break too. Maybe it was more of a network thing.
The DC show took a break in the middle of the season.
It was
like in the middle of the season.
They split it up.
I'm like, wait, what's going on? Because we see other shows come out every year or 6 months. What's happening? And the one thing that we did not do that I want to apologize publicly to the cast for, we did not inform them of what was going on because I was still figuring out what was going on at the same time. I apologize on behalf of, I'll just say me, it's my company, for not keeping y'all updated and feeling like you guys were the stepchildren of Huntsville.
Yeah, well, we felt like
for that. We had episode 9, and then 10 months later, we got episode 10.
And they didn't intentionally split it up.
In the middle of the season.
In episode 9, we had no clue what happened, and the cast members had no clue what happened.
Right.
But no one knew what happened.
Was that the Christmas party?
Yeah, that was Christmas party. But listen, Love and Marriage Huntsville is the #1 series on OWN.
That's a low bar.
No, I don't think it's a low bar. I think that there are individual bars, and success is success. And Victor, it shouldn't be minimized or treated as less. Success success is success. And I think that it should be celebrated the fact that we're looking at Carlos, who's very passionate about his shows. He's fully invested in his cast, in his production, in his
I don't
crew. And
agree.
Carlos was celebrating a Huffington Post article on his Instagram
Messiness.
page.
On his
On his
messiness.
Instagram,
But we can say bro
let me get
chat's
it out.
messy.
Yeah, we are. We can get
After
messy.
what we just went through, right? I mean, we
Yeah,
are
we
entertaining
can be
here.
pretty messy. But
Yeah, but
Right.
if the
Yeah.
well,
difference,
let me finish.
that,
Let me
wait,
finish. Well, Victor,
wait, one
no,
second.
Victor, let me
But
finish
there's
what
a
I'm saying.
difference
Let me
between,
finish what I'm.
but
Let me
just to
no,
respond to that
no, don't.
quickly,
You can't respond if you didn't hear what I said.
not up to Damien.
Let me finish what I'm saying. Because the thing about it is, Carlos King is celebrating a Huffington Post article on his Instagram page, and I think it's just fine for him to say my creation. He didn't name any names and give that credit to Melody. But Victor, before you say your thing, Tamar, what do you think about everything?
Well, I mean, I feel like at the same time, yeah, it is his show. He created the show, so it was his creation. I agree with Victor as well about it being the Hot Mess Express. I don't think Carlos King had his hands, the only one that's driving the truck here. I think that it goes from him and everyone else, like behind the scenes, floating freelancers included. I just think that a lot of people, they play a portion of producing this show. I like the fact that Damian, he defends it as well, even though he's not working there anymore and they got rid of him. But I mean,
Baby, you
yeah,
wish
that's
they
what
got
I
rid
think
of
about
me.
it.
Somebody better get
You
Carlos
get
on the
fired from
line.
every job.
Call the
You get
cast
fired from
members,
every job
baby.
you have.
Call the cast members.
That's why you're
And see, this is
floating
why he's really
you're
mad. Y'all
floating
see how he
freelancer.
just comes for me out of nowhere? It's
I was
insecurity.
just saying
You can't
something.
stand that I worked
I
on
was
that
just
show.
saying
You
that.
can't
I'm
stand
just
that
saying you're looking
myself.
for a
Oh,
job.
wait. And Carlos, his post that he made, unlike you, he has credentials. He can post that. Mr. Put a tripod in your room and pose, and all of a sudden you're a supermodel. You're not. You're a loser and you're a hater. And you get on here and you hate on me every week because you're so envious and jealous that it's seeping from your pores, sweetheart.
Jealous. That you're just upset because Carlos King sent you out on the street. You
No,
have
he
no money or
didn't.
anything to
No,
put
he did
on
not.
yourself. That's why you
No,
have to
he
come
did
on with
not,
tank tops
sweetheart.
and shorts that were used from previous clients
Whatever
ago.
you make
Like,
no
I just don't
sense,
think
Devon.
that
Devon,
is
come on, you
something where
make
we're
no
going.
sense.
So it's
Like
like,
it's getting old. It's
yeah.
tired.
Okay.
But that is what I do
You,
think about it. I love that he has his success for that show. I
this is
love watching
pointless.
Miss Express. He took accountability and he owned that show. He owns it on own.
Well, I have no.
Credentials,
Why are you
resume,
still talking? No,
Okay,
resume,
hold
credentials,
on.
I did
real
not cash
life.
app you.
No stunt queens over here, boo.
You.
yes, let's get
I did
back.
not cash app you. You're still talking.
Let's get back. Okay.
Asking for your services right
All
now.
right, let's get back. Okay, Victor.
Oh yeah, but quickly, let me do a 2-in-1 real quick. So
A
Damien,
2-on-1 read?
no,
What are
a
you supposed to do?
2-in-1 response because there were
Oh,
two
okay.
things
I'm
that
just
were said.
checking.
I'm
So I
ready
I'm
like
trying to
think,
get
Wonder Woman.
red. Oh
Come on,
Lord.
whatever you
so I
got.
think, so I think Damien, the distinction between Brocha and us being messy as co-hosts on a panel versus a wide-scale production. I think it's one thing for cast members and people who appear on the screen to behave a way, but behind the screen and on production, I think there's a different code of ethic and professionalism when it comes to a wide-scale production. So I think that kind of would be the distinction. Mitch, to respond to you and saying Carlos is really invested in being professional, looking after his castmates, I don't see that when he laughs when they go to jail. I don't see that when Love and Marriage DC has taken, a 10-month break between episodes and his cast members don't know what's going on. He hasn't contacted them. To me, that's not someone who's invested. He left them out to dry for 10 months and they returned. So I don't see that care and investment as much. I see him wanting to take credit when he could get the opportunity, and I think he took credit for the right article because messiness is the right thing he could take credit for.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think that if you compare Carlos King to, let's say, Andy Cohen is someone who's had a string of lawsuits from his cast, from members of his cast on his different shows on his reality stars, string of lawsuits directed at him. Carlos King has not experienced the intensity of backlash when it comes to legal action that Andy Cohen has experienced.
I
But
don't
that's what
think
I
we
was
can put
talking
all of
about.
that on Carlos. I don't think he
Okay,
makes the sole
but just
decision
to
to do that.
respond to the lawsuit thing before I get that, I think when it comes to lawsuits, again, as I've said before in this panel, it's alleged that the reason Carlos King isn't working as a producer for Bravo and that umbrella of networks under NBC is allegedly his involvement with spreading the we're spreading the Rapegate rumors for season 9 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I think the reason that Andy Cohen gets more backlash and gets more lawsuits is because he doesn't have shows like The Bold and the Bougie and The 5 Digits. I think when people actually watch your shows, the majority of them, or they're not cancelled after a few seasons, like the string of shows I think Carlos has, I think that's you're in a lesser position to get the backlash as maybe Andy would.
Okay. Damian, what were you going to say?
No, I wanted to say this, that I've said this before up here, that even though I've had, worked for Carlos before, I've said that I didn't agree with Sonny coming on the show as a producer. I thought that was a bad move. I feel like it messed with the integrity of the show big time. I didn't agree with that. And I also feel like that there is a fine line with him being a producer and a creator and then being this on-screen commentator of, and talking about the shows. I do think there's a fine line there that maybe one day the network might give him some sort of ultimatum. Hey, you can't do this if you're going to do this. So there are some things there that, maybe you're a little questionable. You look at with a side eye, but I don't think he's responsible for all these things we're talking about.
Yeah. And I wanna say, Victor, I do have an issue with on Broadchat, you have repeatedly linked Carlos King and the rape rumors with Candy and Phaedra. You've repeatedly made that comparison and repeatedly linked Carlos King to that. But I do want to just put the reminder out there that after season 9, Carlos King and Todd Tucker, they did a show together. They did a show together called Hollywood Divas.
The other executive producer, you know him as Candy Burris' new husband on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Todd Tucker.
Yeah.
And I think that if there was some issues
Okay.
with Candy and Carlos King, I'm pretty sure Candy would have had a big issue with Carlos and Todd working together if she had an impression or a feeling that Carlos had involvement with that. They would not have worked together if that was the case. So I think
I'm gonna
it's
respond
an
to that in a sec.
unsupported rumor.
That's not true.
It's an
That's not
unsupported
true.
rumor what you've put out there. I think
No,
that
that's not true.
if Phaedra thought that, I'm pretty sure she would have said something about it. But I don't see Candy or Phaedra linking it to Carlos King, linking the rape rumor to Carlos King. I see you doing it.
Well, let me give you more clarity on that. So with the Carlos King situation, the allegations come from people within production, and within production specifically, if someone like Carlos King and it goes around and it's spread it at the time that someone from the Bravo network, one of the producers, had involvement in this, that would make the network look bad. So it's Bravo's job not to address it directly and to try and hide it as much as possible. So I think Bravo did an effort to kind of conceal it as much as possible and not make the efforts to kind of conceal, to kind of ostracize him so apparent. Maybe not, they didn't discuss it with cast members or everyone, but that's what happens in these situations. So that you can't, if a producer does something bad, if someone does something bad in these bigger networks, they have to keep it quieter because they represent the integrity of the brand.
Kind of like where Tamar said that, Divine, my bad, that the people behind the scenes were getting abused, the producers, and everybody was getting abused. You remember that rumor that you peddled? Remember?
Were you
I don't know. You know so much about me. You tell me.
You don't work there no more.
You
Who
tell
was being
me.
abused?
He repeated it on this show, remember? Because I said, be careful for you get hit with the defamation suit, baby.
When Tamar
You
said using
stated a lot of
abuse.
things.
And I meant to send it to Carlos's Instagram while you up here lying for clout.
You can send it if you want to send it. Otherwise, you have Carlos on the other side who is consistent. He uses and abuses most of his employees on camera and behind the camera.
Mhm.
Most of the freelancers
Now, how did you know
that work
that?
for him no longer do anymore. So I said what I said. If you are being used, you're being used. Like I said,
No,
you
you
get
said
used for your services.
you didn't
get
say
out on the street.
used. Be careful of the words you
get
use, sweetheart.
You get used all of the time, and you're just trying to find something else to talk about because you got ate up. Be quiet and
baby,
sit there
you
and
couldn't eat
enjoy
me up
the
on your
show.
best day. You meet me
Enjoy
on the runway.
It's okay.
Look,
It's
I beat you here. I
okay.
beat you.
It's okay.
Baby, look at me and look at you.
No agent
Now
wants
that's
to
why
pick
you
you
mad.
up. No agent
Look at
wants to
me
pick
and look at you. I'm older than you, and I still look younger and better than you, sweetheart.
For me.
Okay, bros.
I am older than you, and I still look.
Bros, I was, you know what, bros? I was thinking about, Melody Shari. She's gone to
raggedy hat.
Melody.
Show your
Melody Shari has gone online. Melody Shari has gone online and she's made some cryptic messages. She's posted some cryptic messages about toxic leadership. She says, when you're in a leadership position, you don't talk about your people. That's putting a check in your pocket.
But when you are in a leadership position or so-called leadership position or executive position, you don't talk about your people that's putting a check in your pocket. You don't. There are people who are on a path of self-destruction. Somebody said toxic leadership. That part.
Some people are linking that to Carlos, but she didn't name his name for sure. But I do know that Love and Marriage Huntsville, they're going to have their reunion coming up soon. And with Melody not promoting this Love and Marriage season, do you think Melody will show up to the Love and Marriage Huntsville reunion? And if she does, do you think that she's going to confront Carlos or just play it cool and go through the motions? Damian, what do you think?
She's gonna play it
You
cool
think,
and go through the
Tamar?
motions. She wants a job. Yes, she's gonna play it cool. She's gonna go through the motions. She's gonna get her check so she can support her family, and she's gonna move on. I think that she was just being expressive. She stated how she felt, and that was that from there. I don't think that she's gonna actually leave. I hope she doesn't, but I truly think that she's very strong. She's strong-willed, and I think that she's a firecracker. She's tough, and she can definitely handle this. So I don't think she's going to miss that.
Damien, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with Devon on that. I think that at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day that Mel's gonna show up. She's gonna show up. I mean, why? That's her bread and butter, just like he said. She's gonna be there, and I think we're speculating at the end of the day. Everybody's speculating that she's not gonna show up because she's not posting. I just think she's in her feelings. You know, she can be a diva, so it just is what it is. I think she'll be there, front and center, right beside Carlos.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't think Damian's going to be there. Production's not looking for him.
Yeah, you're right. I won't be there. But if I wanted to, I guarantee you I could. Because I got Angela Dugan's number in my phone. I got Brent Nisbet's number in my phone. Baby, I could call them.
You have all of these numbers.
I do. And what you got?
You still can't get a check.
I don't have to stunt and lie. I don't have to stunt and lie.
Hold on.
My baby hairs, yeah.
Okay. Well, Victor, if Melody does show up, do you think she's going to confront Carlos if she's there?
I don't know. Like, I understand if, she wouldn't show up. Carlos King didn't show up for Love and Marriage DC for 10 months and left them high and dry. So I would understand that. I also think that when it comes to Carlos King, especially when it comes to women issues specifically, we're talking about domestic abuse. We're talking about this man with how we're doing revenge porn. I do think there's some exploitation of that trauma he has. And I think when it comes to women, there's that level of sensitivity that Carlos King's missing. For example, with Sweetie from Married to Medicine, he was doing a recap with Heavenly, and Carlos King said she needs to be less worried about this and more worried about her eggs. So I think between how he's showing what's happening and those kind of abusive situations and the revenge porn situations, when it comes to Melody, I would understand. It doesn't know. I don't know if she's in an environment where someone is receptive to her trauma. And in reality TV, even though it's kind of a free-for-all and it can be a bit of a mess machine, I think at the same time there always needs to be those moral boundaries. And if you think you're in a place where your trauma is being exploited and there's not those resolves and it's happening season after season, we're going to see those same issues happen again and again. Next season she's going to come back, it's going to be intensified. The same thing with her relationship, it's going to get worse, and she's putting that trauma again and again and again. I don't know if that's healthy for her. So I understand where she's coming from.
Yeah, because Carlos King is all about following the reality. So I hope that we learn the reality of Melody and Carlos's real relationship at that reunion. I think it may be the place for it to see Melody tell the truth about how she's really feeling, what she's really thinking, if there is an issue.
So your husband knew about it and you knew about it and you let him say you didn't know the full story. And you approach Melody and we'll be like, what happened? So what's this communications thing? But you knew about the whole situation.
He's been showing people stuff on his phone forever. Like the whole revenge porn thing, that did happen.
But then it also confirms that the cast is more loyal to Martell than they are to Melody.
Mm-hmm. There that goes again, blind loyalty. Eric specifically, it's kind of like at the end of the day, you're siding with Martell.
You just said something about me, so can I clap back?
I don't like is how
Here we
petty
go.
you're making something that doesn't even make sense. I'm
You have
smart as
all
shit.
that
I'm smart.
head, but a little
I'm
small
smart.
brain. It's not
I'm
working.
smart. Small itty brain.
I don't know if
What
your
am
brain is
I?
working or if your mouth is
No,
just broke.
oh,
It's just something's coming out and it's not making
smart.
sense.
Okay, it makes a lot of sense. I'm
It's
making
not
a
making
lot of sense.
sense.
I'm making a lot of sense, bro. I'm making a lot of sense. I'm
I'm
good.
not your bruh. I'm
We're
not your
good.
bruh.
We're good.
Not your
We're
bruh.
good. We're
Not your
good.
bruh.
I'm not
For it.
done.
Yeah, but you're not
I
saying anything though. You're not saying anything relevant. It was your opportunity and your chance, but you decided to steal it and act like a bigot. So we're just gonna move
A
forward
bigot
from
towards
it.
what? A
Then
bigot towards what?
we're just gonna move
And you
forward
can't
from
say
it.
you
I'm
can't say
done.
words like I'm a bigot and then I'll tell me what I'm a bigot about.
Listen,
Like
Okay,
I
no,
can't
no.
compliment out to you
Eric,
every
listen.
Tamar,
girl.
stop. I'm speaking. Everyone listen.
Hey, it's a brotherhood. Woohoo!
I want to address Tamar and Damian. This is the first time that the two of you have been together on Bro Chat since that explosive moment.
You're speaking about this as if you're in the hospital and we know you don't have the degree, so you're probably the receptionist. Who are you to say that a doctor is not checking up on a patient if they say that they have
I'm
a headache?
speaking from
Do you
people.
honestly think? Hold on, let me finish. Oh my God!
Multiple
Dr.
women
That
stated
patient
this.
just
This
told
ain't
you
Hold
you
on,
just
have
me.
a
I'm
guys,
headache,
speaking
and you
one
did
at a time.
nothing
Latisha's
about
cousin.
it.
You got the right one. Try me.
I want to be just like you.
Come on.
Yes.
Pay
I
over
want to be
just a
just
little bit.
like Damien.
Listen, you was intimidated when I sat down. Admit it, ho.
Why don't you tell everybody how your name is not even Tamar? Why don't you tell everybody how you're a fraud and your name is not even Tamar? Your name is Devon.
Okay,
I'm just
Damien.
saying, I wanted to make it clear that he's
Okay.
not a bro, he's a hoe.
Yep.
Okay. No more. Tamar, no more.
Your
No
mammy,
more. No more.
your mom should have swallowed you. How about
Okay.
that? Better yet, you should have ran down her leg.
Are the two of you open to moving forward and you're not brother? I think you two are cousins right now, but hopefully your
Distant
brotherhood
cousins.
in the
Very distant,
future.
honey. Socially distanced to the
Third.
end of the world.
Third cousins.
But Damien, are you open to making this cousinhood a brotherhood with Tamar? What do you think?
Hell no. No, I'm just kidding. Look, listen, for me, I'm gonna take accountability for my part. For what I said, for what I did, me standing up, me getting in the camera, me screaming, me cursing, the way I reacted was wrong. Okay?
First off, thank you for the apology. My intentions is to just dead the whole situation. Like, I'm over it. I'm completely over it. Like, and when you're apologizing, that really means a lot.
I want us to get into our debate, the title of this
Okay.
video. So, bros, on Carlos King's YouTube channel, Tisha Scott revealed that Martell was showing the revenge porn video to members of the cast, including Tisha, before season 8 aired.
He's been showing people stuff on his phone forever. Like the whole revenge porn thing, that did happen.
So somebody was trying to post it on publicly.
He was
on
trying
the
to get
platform
them to
post
get
it.
his.
Or he was trying to get somebody
else to post it for him.
Yes.
I'm getting arrested for a text message I sent Melody over a year ago.
He had sent me a screenshot of a video that he and I had made, a private video we made, and pretty much threatened to post it.
I sent her a picture of us. I sent her a picture of us. Yes.
Yes.
What's wrong with that? It's her.
The guy took a video of his wife and he sent it out there, and then he tried to get other people to send it out there and fake like she was giving it to somebody else.
Now, Victor, do you think that Tisha had an obligation to share this information of her having knowledge of the revenge porn video? Should she have shared that with Melody?
Yeah, absolutely. You're saying that not only had you seen the videos before, but he had a history of doing that to other women.
That is a true thing that really happened. And not only have he shown people stuff in his phone of his ex-wife, he's also showed people stuff in his phone with his baby mother.
Mm-hmm. Like, and you didn't tell her. And if you go back to season 8, episode 3, you can look at her talk to Melody, and her husband actually said, we didn't see the full story. So your husband knew about it, and you knew about it, and you let him say you didn't know the full story, and you approach Melody and will be like, what happened? So what's this communications thing? But you knew about the whole situation. And you're going to sit there and pretend like you didn't know anything about anything. I just think it was fake. It was phony. And I think she thought she looked really good and it was a way to come at Martell and make him look bad. But girl, you're implicating yourself. You knew about someone's criminal behavior and you act surprised, you said nothing, and you let your husband make it seem like there wasn't a full story and there's two sides when you knew about it the whole time. So I think she's a fool. And I feel like you should have another woman's back in that situation. It was just a shame.
Yeah. Well, because Eric, like Victor said, do you think it actually made Tisha look bad?
Yeah, I think it does. I think admitting that you know somebody was gonna blackmail you or blackmail your friend or even your coworker, like straight up just your coworker, there should be enough respect about blackmail. Like it's straight up revenge porn. Like it's not like it was like light stuff. It was like, you know, her yelling at him and stuff. It was like straight up like porn, porn, we should say. But that's not cool. And if you knew about that, you should have said something about it. And then now admitting that you knew way before shows that you were a part of some kind of whatever was going on to keep that quiet. You know what I mean? There's little light shade, but something like revenge porn, like where they're like, you're bare, like your whole body's bare, you got kids involved, you got money involved, there's businesses involved, you should have said something. Like that clearly is saying that you don't mess with Melody in any type of human way possible. Do you know what I mean? Because that's just humanity. That's just human to me.
Yeah. Tamar, do you agree with Eric?
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, I believe that everything is wrong when it comes down to revenge porn, and it gets very deep, and you already know about the situation. I think that it's the right for you to go ahead and nip it in the bud or address the situation before it goes too far. So they just free and willingly just put their hands up and was like, okay, Martell, we see you got the video. We're going to just sit back and wait to see what's going to happen. That's what I'm getting from it.
Well, Damian, since Melody refused to state where she stands when it comes to hate and harassment towards her castmates, do you think Tisha's justified? Do you think Tisha is justified to stay silent when it comes to knowledge she knew about the revenge porn content that Martell was showing?
No, I think, that's one thing I believe we all can agree on, that's never okay to do to anybody, especially when it comes to sexually explicit images, videos, whatnot. They said he had he had done this to other women. I don't know if that meant that he had threatened to release other videos of other women or if he just had videos of them, because you can make videos with people all day long, make sexual videos with people, but it only becomes revenge porn when you threaten to release it and distribute it, which he did. He did that with Melody. I was just kind of confused with the other women that they've claimed about. But yeah, no, I think she should have. We've seen this play out with Kenya on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Look what's happened there. I think while this may be reality, right, and while this may be the reality of it for them, I do believe that it can turn viewers off.
Yeah, and also turn off viewers, but then also too, Tisha's very liable in a way as well, because rewatching the early episodes of season 8, Tisha is talking to Melody, asking Melody questions about the revenge porn content as if she has no clue.
Yeah.
And it confirms that Melody really does not have support on this cast. She doesn't have anyone that's going to have her back. We don't know for sure who specifically knew about this revenge, who Martell. We don't really know who Martell was showing it to. We don't know those names. All we know for sure that Tisha knew. And that's good enough for me to know that Tisha is on the wrong side of history with this. And she owes Melody the biggest apology. You don't agree?
No,
I agree. I think she should.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if apologies should be given, because I don't even think that they're going to take accountability. So we first need accountability to be taken before apologies can be distributed. So we'll need to pass that step first before we can see any type of apology happening. I don't even know if an apology is going to happen.
And
well, I
you
don't
know
think
what?
they felt like they did it wrong.
I think and I could be totally wrong, but I think partly in Tisha's mind, she's thinking, oh, well, you know, you've accused my husband of cheating, and you've, not that it's right at all, or not that it's equal, but I do think partly in her mind she's like, well, you know, I'm just not going to say anything because of X, Y, and Z. Now, that's where I think it becomes tricky and a little hard, because you work with this person, you've had a long-standing relationship with them, but then you have so much vitriol and past hatred. Do you say something? I mean, obviously, I think it's the right human thing
Well,
to do.
yeah, I think that it has something to do with your conscience. So, I mean, if you're just a nasty individual and want to see someone hurt, like we've had our banter back and forth, but at the end of the day, I don't think I would want to see something like that happen. Like, I don't think I would want to see somebody distribute explicit videos of you onto the web or things. If that was to come towards me, then I would feel like I would hurry up and stop that or nip it in the bud. So I think that it just goes by the conscience of it. So that speaks a lot, you know, about her. I have my eye open just looking at her right now. That's all.
I don't know why she
Right.
would do that to a woman and a mother. I think that's what kind of bothers me. Is like, you know that Melody got kids with this man. You know that that they have businesses together. And I think to know something that deep and not say nothing is kind of crude. It's crude.
Yeah. I think it confirms. I think Tisha having knowledge of the revenge porn uh, content and knowing that Martell was showing this around town, with Tisha knowing that, it confirms that she's not for Melody. It confirms that for sure. But then it also confirms that the cast is more loyal to Martell than they are to Melody.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that.
Oh yeah.
There that goes again, you know, blind loyalty. It goes on to the other side, things that you just feel like, oh, it's for entertainment purposes. I'm just going to wait and see what he does with it. And then it's kind of like at the end of the day, you're siding with Martell. I mean, actually witnessing your friend being blackmailed and actually loving the entertainment and enjoying it, and having popcorn, I think that's a whole different situation. Eric specifically, when it came down to holding people accountable with bros, Eric, you used the popcorn and say that you're living for briefcases that wasn't even a Birkin.
As long as, you know, everything goes good and nobody pushes my buttons or tests me, I won't have to pull out my magic bag. And I won't have to open my folder. Can carry on
Not
with.
a suitcase.
No, no, no.
Not a
This is
suitcase
A
with some
folder.
paperwork.
Yes, you
this is
see,
my
Not
magic bag.
suitcase with paperwork.
This is my magic bag, and
Live,
I keep more
mama.
than just paperwork.
A file on Tamar specifically?
No, it's
What?
definitely not about me because it's not so thick. You know, I'm booked and busy and I have a
Are
lot
you?
going on.
and things that he said about my mother, you were just living for it all and just stuffing your cheeks with popcorn. Why was that?
Because I found it entertaining.
Okay. Well,
Like
it's
point
a
blank
lot of things.
period.
It's a lot of things that we
Can I
see and
respond
that we
back? Because
find.
you said you were, I mean,
Well,
you just said something about me. So can I clap back?
let Eric respond.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I didn't say anything wrong. I think you were both going below the belt. I think you were both going towards the gutter. I think that you would antagonize and then you would get a different response from Damian.
And that's
not my
okay.
problem.
That's I did not say
100%. But
that.
that's
What
how
I
I
said,
felt.
what I
But
said
that's
was,
how I
why
felt.
did you
But that's
not
how I
hold
felt.
your fellow bro accountable
Because I
for
didn't
the
feel like I
nasty
needed to hold
things
him accountable.
that he said?
Tamar's talking about this is behind us now.
It
Damian
is.
has taken
It's not,
accountability
but
and he's had the conversation. He's been very
It
transparent
is
about
behind us.
moving forward about it. But Damian did say to Tamar that your mother should have swallowed you. Okay,
I'm just
Damian.
saying, I wanted to make it clear that he's
Okay.
not a bro, he's a hoe.
Yep.
Okay. No more. Tamar, no more.
Your man,
No more.
your mom should have swallowed you. How about
Okay.
that?
Yes,
Better yet, you should have ran down her leg.
And
that's
ran
And
down her
fair. That's
leg.
fair.
And
and
ran down her leg. Let's put that in there as well. So he heard
and
multiple things that he was living for. Disgusting
but
things.
and also note that Damian is moving forward from this and Tamar is
Okay.
Yes.
moving forward from this. But
Okay.
Eric,
I'm taking accountability.
Tamar doesn't appreciate that you didn't have an issue with what Damien had said, is what
Exactly.
Tamar is saying. But I think he's hurt that you didn't see
Okay.
that seem to have an issue with
Okay.
running down her leg and should have swallowed. And that's what Tamar's really talking about.
Okay. Okay.
And I know
Okay.
that we're still,
Okay.
getting to know each other and
Okay.
everything. Because when you first got on, I didn't know if you were a retired escapee from RuPaul's Drag Race or just coming on here from your husband. So I just didn't understand, and I know that we're still working on a relationship, but yes, I do accept that you're taking accountability for it. Thank you. We can move on.
No, we can't move on because you're not going to be shading me sideways and thinking you're sounding cute because you're
I'm
not.
finished.
Because
I'm
what
finished.
I
We can
don't
go ahead
like,
and move on.
what I don't like is how
Here we
petty
go.
you're making something that doesn't even make sense. You don't even
Here
know
we
what
go.
me and Damian talked
It's
about.
clear
But
black and white. It's clear black and white.
It's not
The
black and
smart
white.
ones
It's not black
understand.
and white.
The smart
But
ones
it's cool.
understand.
I'm
You
smart
have
as
all
shit.
that
I'm smart.
head, but a little
I'm
small
smart.
brain. It's not
I'm
working.
smart. Small itty brain.
I don't know if
What
your
am
brain is
I?
working or if your mouth is
No,
just broke.
oh.
It's just something's coming out and it's not making
Smart.
sense.
Okay, it makes a lot of sense. I'm
It's
making
not
a
making
lot of
sense.
sense. I'm making a lot of sense, bro. I'm making a lot of sense. I'm good.
I'm not your bruh. I'm
We're
not your
good.
bruh.
We're good.
Not your
We're
bruh.
good. We're
Not
good.
your bruh.
We're good.
I'm not your bruh.
We're good. We're good.
I'm not your
We're
bruh.
good. We're good.
Listen,
Like
I'm
backhanded
saying
compliments
this.
to
I'm
me.
still getting
That's
to know
weird.
him, and he
That's
decided
weird
to
as
take
Eric.
that
That's weird
opportunity
because
to
I
go.
reached out to you.
Eric, Tamar,
girl.
stop it now.
I want to say something
Tamar,
really quick, because we're here to talk about accountability.
Tamar,
Izzy said a lot of things about your mother, and I was there to hold him accountable with a lot of things. You did not.
Eric,
You did not. You decided to choose your
Tamar.
side. It's okay because
Tamar.
so twins.
Tamar,
There
listen.
are no sides though.
Listen,
There was no.
okay.
Thank you.
Damian, Tamar, no one.
He
say
blindly
it.
did
No
that.
one say. No one
No,
say
I
anything.
didn't.
He blindly chose a side.
Tamar, I'm speaking. Everyone, listen. I understand the irritation, the frustration. We all have history with each other. Yeah, and listen.
And that's just what I was just noticing, because I've seen a lot of things going on with just Eric being off the wall with a lot. So it came towards Victor and then towards you, Mitch, and I've seen a lot into the chats where it's like a little microaggression as well.
Microaggression.
So I mean, a lot of things will have to be addressed with him, and he needs to take accountability for that. So it was your opportunity and your chance, but you decided to steal it and act like a bigot. So we're just going to move forward from it.
What? A bigot towards what?
We're just going to move forward from it.
You
I'm
can't say
done.
words like I'm a bigot and then I'll tell me what I'm a bigot about. What am I being a bigot about? I understand where you're coming from.
Everything is black and white. Like I said, the head is big, but the brain is small. It's not working.
Making comments about my weight, girl, and we are gonna have.
I didn't say anything about your weight. I said your head. I have a big head as well, but I have a big brain. I have a big head as well, but I have a big brain. So let's not go with the weight thing. You're trying to take something and run with it. Let's not go with the weight thing. Let's not go with it. You're trying to take something to run with it now. It's not going to work.
Tamar.
I heard.
I have a big. My head is actually bigger than yours.
Here's what I said. You said 3 times I stuffed my face with popcorn. Then you said I look like a RuPaul's Drag Race.
You put popcorn emojis.
So what are you trying to say?
You did popcorn emojis.
But come on.
I'm calling out everything that you did.
And I'm calling it out. And I'm calling it out.
I've already said that we can move on.
I want to hear.
I haven't gone below the belt.
I've already said we can move on.
Below the belt.
He's screaming and he's acting wild. Look at him.
I'm not acting wild.
He's screaming, going crazy.
You
have a mic and you're screaming. No one can hear you.
You're gaslighting him.
Stop.
No one can hear you.
Stop.
That you are 100% right. When Damian said that about you swallowing your mother, I should not have laughed at that, and I should have been like, "That's not cool." 100%. I can 1,000% take accountability for that because that's cool as fuck. Like you're being real with me and you can be honest. It's the other stuff that you're saying that is making me upset. I can hear you if you want to say this is why I'm upset, A, B, and C. But when you're making these little digs at me, that's not cool.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. You should have done it at the beginning instead of dragging it on and laughing.
We're over time.
But that's all. Thank you. That's all. Thank you.
We're over time now. Listen. We're gonna put we're hopefully we get to resolve this coming up soon. I appreciate hopefully tomorrow you heard Eric say that he takes accountability. He does not.
I did, and I said
he's not okay with that part of the conversation.
I accepted.
But you did call him a bigot, and you did say that he was being microaggressive. Do you still stand by that?
Did you hear me take accountability for that as well?
Okay. Well, I just want to clarify.
I did. We can replay it.
Okay. Good. That's why.
I think he was screaming, so maybe he didn't hear it.
Replay. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
We have a replay.
All right. Okay.
So, Tamar, you're sorry for what you said to Eric about his appearance and the racist thing.
Well, not racist. He said bigot and microaggressive.
Bigot, and Eric, you apologized for if Tamar felt he was biased. So we've moved on. Is it resolved?
We moved on.
Okay.
All right. Damian, I don't believe it either. But okay, but listen, we're gonna come back. Everyone looking in, make sure that you like this video and let us know in the comment section below what you think about Tisha and her knowledge of Melody's revenge porn video.
Carlos is specifically describing this show as a show specifically around Black excellence, uplifting the Black community. He says it on his YouTube channel. But I have my magnifying glass and I don't see that intention and that carried out in the edit.
Yeah, because it did rub me wrong, Victor, when you were talking about Black excellence and you don't define what is Black excellence. Carlos not presenting Black excellence to us. Victor, you saying that? I think you're wrong.
Hey, it's a brotherhood. Woohoo!
Oh!
Come on now. I told him he looked like Santa, the Pimp Daddy Claus.
Pimp Daddy Claus.
Yeah.
You look like you're about to go to a circuit party that's entitled Ho Ho Ho.
Oh, this is our Christmas theme, bro chat. So it's meant to be extra special, extra festive.
All right, let's go.
Hey everyone, it's your bro, Mitch Kimbro. I'm here at the Bros, and happy holidays from the Bros of Bro Chat.
Merry Christmas from the UK. That's what we say.
Bros. Monique says that Carlos King played the black card when trying to get her to join Love and Marriage DC, promising that the show would portray Black relationships in a more positive light. But instead, Monique says that the show ended up trashing her and not providing the proper context to her fights with her husband.
When I left Housewives, there was one of the producers that used to be a part of Housewives franchise who started his own. He approached me with support, so I believed him when he used the black card, and he did me worse than the white folks. I was like, he could have waited to the second season to trash me.
So you think Love and Marriage DC did you worse than Real Housewives of Potomac?
Yeah.
Damn.
It was worse. It was like, there was no context. There was no reason to all of the fussing and fighting.
Victor, does Carlos King bear some responsibility for Monique's complaints?
Yes. Monique's complaints, Winter's complaints, Ashley's complaints, Melody's complaints, the viewers' complaints, all of our complaints.
What was Melody's complaints?
The storyline of kind of her abuse was carried out for a while, and it seems to be a recurring theme. I think with the Love and Marriage franchise, with what Monique's saying, is it something that promised to celebrate Black love? In fact, Carlos King described it himself on his YouTube channel recently as a show that was meant to promote Black excellence. But I have my magnifying glass, and I don't see that intention and that carried out in the edit.
Right now, you can count Melody Rogers as disappointed. Mugshot after mugshot after mugshot. I can't help but feel like, what is this? What are we becoming? Because when we talk about originally, right, Black excellence, when we talk about originally being the builders of the community, right, being the standard, right, we ain't hitting that. So don't put my name with them names.
I don't see him trying to portray excellent. The show doesn't really highlight the success. So from what it's pitched, which is meant to be Black excellence, we don't see that. We see domestic abuse. We see men verbally arguing and attacking women like Winter on the season 1 Love and Marriage DC reunion with no intervention and no repercussions. I think it's justified that people have complaints and take it up. And the reason they probably brought those complaints publicly it's probably because it wasn't heard privately.
Now I'm not saying this is not true or it didn't happen, but I've yet to see Melody speak out against the production, speak out against the show. Now it could have happened, and I'll look at our chat afterwards. If we were to follow their businesses and their lives for 8 to 10 episodes, y'all wouldn't watch. People would not watch, and I've heard that from the beginning from the Love and Marriage fans, is that y'all said this show was going to be about Black successful couples rebuilding Huntsville, and it's all it is drama. We're in season 9. How many episodes can we watch of rebuilding Huntsville and watching them go to their businesses? The drama is where it thrives. And it almost feels like we don't hold Bravo and Andy to the same standards. People go to prison over there. They're defrauding the elderly. I mean, there's so much going on over there at Bravo, but Carlos is always the one where it's like, oh, he needs to be held accountable. And listen, I disagree with a lot of things Carlos does. I didn't think Sonny coming on the show was a great idea. I thought what he said about Sweet Tea and the infertility thing was disgusting. But Carlos does not. He does not run OWN. There's a whole team you have to go through, network executives. He can't control every damn thing that happens with this show. I mean, there's so many people on top of him that make the decisions.
When we perpetually see victims saying the same thing over and over, we should start believing them. And it's not one case, it's not two cases, it's multiple cases, and they sound similar. So there has to be a ring of truth to it to a certain extent. I do agree with Damian. He takes the blunt of it because he is the executive producer. However, he is not the end all be all. Yes, show people who are successful, who are business owners, but like Damian says, it is a TV show. People watch this for the same reason they watch General Hospital, the same reason they watch. There has to be conflict. What I don't like what Carlos does is that he gets on his lives and he mocks his talent.
Now, what the hell going on with this? Can you break that down for me, please? Carlos, no, baby. This is your The girl went to jail for what? That is new. Now y'all told us y'all done went down the street talking about Martell went to jail, and we knew what he went to jail for. But what did she do? Now what kind of hoe you? Carlos.
You know what's so interesting? People are now calling the show Love and Huntsville After Lockup. And I don't understand why.
The mocking of the talent, I don't get. There should be a level of professionalism. When bringing Destiny's lover's girlfriend on, or the ex-producer, that was like super disrespectful to your cast member that you love, that you protect. That's what I feel.
Yeah. Specific to Monique, making these complaints about Carlos, I do not think that Monique is a victim in any way, shape, or form, because Monique has a history of not taking accountability for her own words, her own actions. Ooh. She struggled. She had a hard time when it came to taking accountability for being violent when it came to Candace. I don't think we really got the depths of taking responsibility there. And she even went at that time so far as to make a song, to write a song, to release a music video about drag queens. It was a great song.
I remember that.
But the message, listen, Bro Chat, we love a song about drag queens, but the message was about dragging Candace. To pile on to Carlos, I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. I don't think
she was piling on. I believe she feels this way. I don't think she's necessarily piling on. She can feel this way. And I think both things can be true. She can be someone who does I don't think you're wrong in what you said. With a lot of times she does do that. She doesn't hold accountability. But she does have a right to feel that way if that's what was intended. I do think it's naive. If you're really believing that a producer is not going to produce you, you are being naive. Especially if you are in a reality TV setting and it's your second round at it. You know what I mean? You were just in Bravo for a while. You're not new to the game. So it is a little bit of naivety. I don't understand going into an arena that you know the rules and then getting mad at the rules.
Victor? Can I say just something to respond? Just two things. The first thing, in terms of what Damian, you were talking about, the difference between, Bravo and OWN and the accountability. I do think Andy's held accountable, but I think the difference is Carlos is specifically describing this show as a show specifically around Black excellence, uplifting the Black community.
When I created Love and Marriage Huntsville, I created the show because I felt like what was missing from reality TV at the time was a show where couples were on equal playing field and showcasing Black excellence.
When it comes to the pitch, I think with Monique, that's probably what she was contacted. I think Monique was a big star of Potomac, and I think Carlos probably really wanted her on. And we can see him say on his YouTube that the Love and Marriage franchise is about Black excellence. It's about creating role models. You said specifically people who people can aspire to be.
But the big issue when we're talking about Monique is every show that Monique is a part of, something isn't quite right. The edit is wrong. The context is missing. Something is always not right from Monique. But we're talking about the context missing. What really is missing is Monique's accountability. Those are your words. Those are your actions.
I think for Monique, she was probably contacted after Potomac, and Carlos was saying that you have the opportunity, from Monique's perspective, you have the opportunity to have more of a fair shot than you did on Potomac and showcase your marriage.
I do think the biggest problem with Monique is that she doesn't accept that she's harsh and that she's abrasive. I think if she accept that, she would have a little bit easier time on these reality TV shows because she is an abrasively harsh person. And if she would just accept that, she would come off less. It would be harder to make her a villain because she'd be aware of it. But if you're given villain editing, I'm sorry, their job as a producer is to produce. You're taking away someone else's job too by making them be like, well, I guess I can't produce that, but you're giving it to me.
I think she was under the impression that she would be in an environment, from his explanation, whether it's naive or not, she was under the impression that she would be in the environment where her successes would be highlighted more than they were on Potomac.
And I can understand that. I can understand that.
You know what I think happened with Monique? I don't think she was naive at all. I think Carlos and them told her, come over here. You know, you can show this. It'll be greater for you. She went over there. Things have not been going great in her marriage. She looked crazy, the way she was talking to Chris, and she hated the way she looked, just like she hated the way she looked when she knocked Candace upside the head. That's the problem, because if Monique would have went on this season, if Monique would have went on Love and Marriage DC season 1, and she would have had a great season and been that girl and been queen, and everybody would have been bowing down, and her and Chris's marriage would have been great, she would still be there right now. That's what it boils down to. I'm sorry, I don't buy it from Monique. I don't buy it, because everything was just fine when you were signing that contract and cashing those checks, because you know what reality TV entails. So I just don't buy it.
It boils down to personal responsibility. What Damian is talking about, you have an opportunity to showcase and show not black. Well, I don't want to say Black excellence anymore. I'm tired of hearing that. You know, it did sort of rub me wrong, Victor, when you were talking about Black excellence, and you don't define what is Black excellence, and the critique of Carlos not presenting Black excellence to us. Victor, you saying that? I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong because when Love and Marriage Huntsville first came out, Damian, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Carlos King was talking about how massively successful the show was in a way where the audience was building and building and building. The fact that Love and Marriage Huntsville has the audience it has and has type of audience it has is because there's something about this show that has captured the public. And that is something that is positive. You don't make Carlos King responsible for what the cast chooses to show and say. So to say that Carlos King is not giving us Black excellence, maybe the better critique is I don't appreciate what I'm seeing from this particular cast member, because Carlos King is delivering to us content that the public has gravitated towards.
Okay, you can say that, but I don't think that you can say that. For me personally, I think everyone on that show represents Black excellence. I think they're all incredibly successful people. However, I don't think the show highlights excellence necessarily. And that's just my opinion on the term excellence. And I think
You don't
Carlos
think that the show highlights a Black excellence?
I don't think the show highlights success specifically to all of these people. He's speaking
No.
about Stormy.
I disagree there.
We're seeing listen, we're seeing the ugly.
Let me just finish.
We're seeing the ugly. We're seeing the good. We're seeing the rough of what these cast members, of what these stars. We're seeing the good, the bad, the ugly of what these stars are choosing to show us. Choosing to show us.
But I think from a production perspective, when Carlos is bringing on Sonny, and that situation was messy. That situation is not flattering to Destiny. I don't think that's indicative of someone wanting to show excellence in the same way as when he planned to bring Melody's mistress on. I don't think choices like that, specifically trying to bring on people to make people look bad or present something really messy, that doesn't highlight success.
But I do agree with Mitch in the sense of like, to say that he's not portraying Black excellence, I don't think that's our position. But I also, as people with like light skin, but I also don't see how it's not producing that when at the end of the day, some little kid is looking up and seeing Destiny run her business. Some little kid is looking up and seeing, the real estate moguls that they are. Yes, there's drama in between there, but there's representation. And representation is super, super important to be able to turn on your TV and see a real estate mogul or to see, the skincare that they have and like all that other stuff pays the bills. But I do believe that at least showing those things are what the excellence is in that. And my opinion doesn't matter because I have light skin. It does not matter, but that is my opinion on it.
Like, she has no self-control when someone confronts her and she has to escalate it.
My phone went on live while I'm cussing and crying, and she takes that to get a warrant for my arrest for, guess what? Harassing communication.
This is the problem that I'm having with it. This is what you just spoke. It's my turn now.
And then
so
it's Melody's
what happened was
that Stormy doesn't have self-restraint. It's
she doesn't have self-restraint that someone came to her place of work and cursed her out. She doesn't have self-restraint.
And she's going to entertain
That's
an
so
argument.
insane.
I do not think that Melody is responsible for Stormy's reaction to this fan.
Can we keep it a buck right here? Because I feel like this is so fake, I can't even take it.
Hey, it's a brotherhood. Woohoo!
Many of the castmates are dealing with Melody fans, including Destiny. Destiny has said that a fan has come to her house.
Especially being on the receiving end of fans showing up at my business, showing up at my house. You can take a stance. Like, you can say, hey, yo, I'm not with that. I thank you for supporting me. I appreciate you riding out for me, but let's be on the internet.
Damian, you have a close relationship with Destiny. Destiny has said that a Love Marriage Huntsville fan has come to her home. Do you think that Melody has responsibility to speak out?
Melody can't force these people to stop. They're going to do what they want to do. However, with her platform, they're fans of hers. They're following her. She can say, look, y'all, this is entertainment. It doesn't have to go that far. I may not like these people, but please don't go to their jobs. Please don't harm them. And believe it or not, some people will listen. Part of me, I don't want to believe this, but part of me thinks like Mel might get like a little bit of a kick out of it. Like, well, you mess with me, this is what happens, And when you don't say something, that's what it looks like. And it's a lot of middle-aged women who are single, don't have a man, sitting home at night, Saturday nights, watching OWN. No shade, do your thing. But a lot of them are just middle-aged women that don't have lives. So they sit on the internet all day harassing people. You got Stormy quitting. The show is going to end up taking a dark turn, and it's going to get canceled. And those checks are going to dry up, and y'all are going to wish it would never went this way.
Stormy says the harassment from Melody's intensely loyal fan base is the reason behind Stormy's decision to leave Love and Marriage Huntsville.
So when you say what they do, what are you talking about? What y'all don't know is I actually had to turn myself into jail. That's what y'all don't know. Because of a millimeter. One of her proclaimed fans, for sure, came to my warehouse with her camera out and her friend trying to get inside.
In response, Stormy got frustrated and had an intense verbal altercation with the fan, which led to the fan filing a complaint of harassing communication directed at Stormy.
It's another level. I'm saying state where you stand. Do you agree with that?
I'm not.
I don't have to say. All right. I don't have to say.
Do you think that Melody has a responsibility to use her platform to state where she stands on harassment and attacks towards her castmates?
To be honest, like, I just have to keep it real. Like, I agree with Melody. If I'm not cool with you and I don't like you, I don't have to support you and defend you. It's one of those things that it's terrible.
But you don't.
It's terrible what's been done. But I don't think anything she says is going to change how they react. I think people
But you should still say it. That's like saying celebrities shouldn't speak out against violence because nobody's going to listen to them. It's not going to really make that offense. She still should say it. Like, they're going to people's houses. They're not just like seeing them in the mall. They're making time out of their day to drive to someone's place of residence and harass them.
But like
you got to say something.
Like Melody said, that's part of the territory. When you sign yourself up to being on TV, you're giving people access to your personal
Yes,
life.
I'm not saying it's her responsibility, but it's called common courtesy, though.
Where you work,
they work together.
Intimate details.
They work
and
together.
An attachment to you and your life.
They
so
work
you're
together,
giving
though.
them all of that information about
but
you.
They work together,
and
though.
Some people exploit it. I think
but
whether
Melody
together, was
though.
involved or not, there's always that risk.
They work together, though.
There's always that risk when it comes to a reality show. And I don't think anything that
they work together,
Melody does is going to change.
They work together,
though. I don't think
they work together, though.
On, and I don't think they feel that
it's not about
it's
they work together, though.
Thank you. They work together, though. Like,
honey.
I'm just thinking. It's just facts. Facts are facts. But it's her fault because they're doing
coming up to your house. Show the police that
when people go to war for Christ, they're doing it in the name of Jesus, right? With this action.
Let me add to this. There is a feeling that Melody is being blamed for not speaking out.
Right.
She's being pressured to speak out, and she's being told that she has a responsibility to speak out. Because listen, we have a First Amendment right to say what it is that we choose to say, but we also have to remember that our words have consequence. They do. Our words have consequence. And we're talking about the person that came to Stormy's, the fan, that came to Stormy's warehouse. Stormy was wrong for not giving that fan the proper consequence. The proper consequence is not let me fight with you verbally back and forth and argue with you. The proper consequence is let me call the authorities on you because you've come to my warehouse and you are harassing my area. That is the proper consequence. The authorities should have been called by Stormy.
I love when we blame the victim for the abuser's problem.
Yeah, but the issue, Eric, the issue is the issue is that the way Stormy's bringing it up, being very emotional, saying this person came and because of it, I had to turn myself in. Like she has no self-control when someone confronts her, and she has to escalate it, and because it escalated to an indecent level that a police file was charged, somehow it's Melody's fault that someone came.
I find this very. This is the problem that I'm having with this. You just spoke. It's my turn now. So what happened was,
Stormy doesn't have self-restraint.
Oh, she doesn't have self-restraint. That someone came to her place of work and cursed her out. She doesn't have self-restraint. I've said it 6 times.
We're cross-talking each other. I really want all of you to be heard. Eric, say your piece that you were saying.
You got me messed up if you're coming to my place of work and you think that I have to control how I react when you come and you are in my space. That is insane. That's like someone slapping someone in the face and then going, and you slap them back. And you're like, well, you shouldn't have slapped them back. That's your fault. You should have just walked away. No, I'm sorry. Some people don't, I don't react that way. I don't have to be the bigger person. I don't have to do that. Well, the whole point of the matter is, and the whole point that we're arguing here is, why is it an argument that all she has to do is say, do not go to people's places of work or residence? That's all she has to do. Nobody's saying that she has to apologize. Nobody's saying that she has to like them. But if one of you guys, right, are telling me that one of my fans is going to your house where you sleep, where your kid sleeps, and I don't like you and I don't mess with you, I'm human enough to be like, don't be going to people's houses in my name, because that's not what I stand for. It has nothing to do with the other person. It has nothing to do with the Destiny. You don't have to like Destiny to be a decent human and not want someone to be where her kid sleeps and not just show up. Period.
Here's a thought.
That's weird to me. I'm sorry.
I think if things were delivered differently, then Melody would have had a different response.
I don't care about delivery. That's the point of it. This is what it is. This is delivery. I get it. At the end of the day, someone showed up where a child was sleeping.
Victor, finish your point. Finish your point.
On the Stormy situation specifically, I think if Stormy or Destiny asked Melody, do you think you could make a statement because people are showing up?
They're not talking.
To my house, to my warehouse, etc. I think she would have done it. I think what I saw in that scene was Stormy very upset, saying someone came and I had to lose self-control and my professionalism, and I had to escalate, and I had to turn myself in, and it's all because you haven't made statements. It's the way that it came across.
She said, state where you stand.
State where you stand.
Yeah.
State where you stand.
And
it's pressure on Melody to state where she stands.
Listen, and that's the only part that I can maybe relate to, okay? Now, I still stand by everything I said, but now that you guys bring that up, that's a good point, because Stormy did say, do you agree with that? State where you stand. And Melody, I agreed with Melody in this one instance. She said, I ain't got to state.
I'm saying state where you stand. Do you agree with that? I don't have to state. All right. I don't have to say.
Now, I do wish she would state something, but in that moment, I get it, because if somebody was on me, like, you need to say this, I would be like, I don't have to say until I get ready to say something. But two things can be true at once. They could have went about it differently. Hey, Mel, this is what's happening. And she also should have addressed, it's a simple Instagram story or a video. Y'all, please stop doing this. And then boom.
To add to that, it's Melody's not speaking up, so I'm going through this. And if Melody would speak up, all of this would come down. The temperature would come down. That's a lot of responsibility on Melody. It's a big weight on Melody it is, because listen, if Melody was supposed to, if Melody's expected to speak out against every issue, everything that happened, she would be speaking out all day. Do we really?
Issue.
Well,
can we keep it a buck right here? Because I feel like this is so fake, I can't even take it. Let's keep it a buck real quick. You cannot take those two instances separately and say that they're the same. Those two instances, what Destiny getting someone approaching her at work, and Destiny getting someone approaching her at her place of residence, and then Stormy getting someone at work, those are not separate occasions. Those are two of the same type of instances happening because of what's happening on the show. So that is what we call a pattern or a problem. We are noticing a problem of a pattern. So you can't just separate them.
That's the thing I've got.
You can't separate, this here. I don't see how it is someone else's responsibility for you to be a decent person. I shouldn't have to beg you to be a decent person. I think that we can hate each other. We can not like each other. We can do all of that thing. But when someone is threatening me, quite literally in my face, in my personal space, it is not
It is insane that I would have to beg you to do that. It is insane that that wouldn't be your immediate reaction as a mother of children. I'm sorry, that's crazy. She has kids. If people were showing up at her crib, like come on, man.
Baby, she would lose her mind on everybody at the network.
And she would have every right. Again, I'm not putting this is not her fault. It's not her fault. But with great power comes great responsibility. If you're gonna be that girl and you want to be that girl and you want to be that it girl, when they start acting crazy, you need to set them straight. Period. That's the only thing we're asking for.
I do not think that Melody is responsible for Stormi's reaction to this fan. She's not responsible for that.
That's not what I'm saying. She's not responsible for any.
I'm saying that for myself. I don't think that Melody should be because Stormi is in charge. Let's remember that Stormi is in charge of herself.
No, I agree. I don't disagree.
Stormi should not have had a verbal confrontation with that. She should have filed the complaint. Stormi should have filed the complaint on the fan.
Okay, but my point is, this is two different arguments, so I'm confused.
But you said that.
I'm confused at what we're arguing.
Blaming the victim.
Yeah. The reason why we're blaming the victim is because someone... It's not the fact that she reacted to what was the root cause of the problem, right? Let's look at it like we look at it scientifically. What is the root cause of the problem? Someone, unannounced, a fan, aggressively showed up to her place of work. That's the issue. Melody has to address the fact that someone in her name went to a place. I'm not done. I'm not done. Someone went in her name to a place of work and was disrespectful with her name. They used her name. I'm Melody's fan. You don't talk to Melody this way. They're speaking on behalf of you. You were just mad at Mitch for doing it to Izzy. I mean, it's the same thing. If you have to take responsibility, want to go curse them out, that's fine, but that's not on me. That's what we're saying.
Carlos King spoke out and defended Stormi and actually said that the fans need to stop the harassment. He was very clear about that.
Before I bring in my guest, I want to address Stormi still quitting Love and Marriage Huntsville. She left the show because she had to choose her business over the bullshit that some of you guys did to her. Y'all did it to Tiffany and she left. And y'all did it again to Stormi. And this has to stop. I don't stand for it. I have never stood for it. I have always addressed it. I don't like it.
I think Carlos is the wrong messenger. From what he's done on Love and Marriage DC Season 1, sitting by as men verbally attack Winter, no producers getting involved, no one getting involved, speaking about women's eggs, speaking about one of the cast members, speaking about Buffy's eggs, saying you need to worry less about this person, more about your eggs. And then when she responds, saying,
not Buffy, not Buffy.
Who was that again?
Buffy's medicine.
Who?
Sweetie.
Sweetie.
Speaking about Sweetie's eggs, saying you need to be less focused on this person, more focused on your eggs. Then she responds and has a justified response. And then for you to say, based off that response, she's not tough enough for reality TV. It's giving very much do as I say, but not as I do. Because what you're showing us is so much chaos in the Love and Marriage, in all your franchises. So many things happening. It's only recently that he's starting speaking up and supporting people. But so much chaos has not only happened on screen, but behind the screen, and he has nothing to say. And suddenly, the fans are out of line.
I don't agree with any of that. I don't agree with any of that only because I don't think that Melody has a responsibility to speak out, but I think that it is very appropriate for Carlos King, as he says, the creator of Love and Marriage Huntsville and the executive producer. I think that it is very appropriate for us to hear directly from him about where he stands on all of this that's going on within his shows. So I think it's appropriate to hear from him, and I think it's a great thing, actually. And I think that we need to give people credit, Victor, for when they get it right, and to not come so hard on people when they've, had those missteps in areas. But I want to give Carlos King that credit for getting it right, because he got it right with speaking out against harassment and any attacks. I think it's his role, and he did it.
He can't condemn people and say these fans are crazy. These fans are doing this, when you do the exact same type of behavior. And on this
He doesn't
instance,
do the exact type of behavior. What do you mean by that?
On this instance, he's being sensitive. On other instances, he's saying laughing about love and marriage being love and marriage lockup being.
That's the reality of it.
He's laughing about people going to jail. So sometimes you find it hilarious that your castmates are going to jail, and sometimes it's too far. It's just inconsistent, and it's hard to take someone seriously who's so inconsistent about how serious they are about their cast members. So I just don't think it's serious for him to say that.
Everyone looking in, let us know. Let us know. Do you think that Melody needs to speak out and condemn the attacks and harassment that her castmates are experiencing? Is that her responsibility?
As a victim of abuse myself, as people who I know who are abused, if it was that bad, I really don't think it should have been on TV.
Whoa. We can't say it wasn't that bad.
I know it's that bad.
We can't say it
Victor,
wasn't that bad.
As soon as I say something, it gets flipped on me. Because I'm attacking Melody, and this is an example of it. Because I feel like people go so hard for Melody, they put blinders on, so that when people are just critiquing her a little bit, it becomes this big thing. And I'm like, girl, I don't even hate her, but you guys make me hate her.
Why? It's because of what Victor just said.
Hey, it's a brotherhood. Woohoo!
Okay, bros, are you ready?
Yes. I was born ready.
Daddy Cohen said, let's go.
All right, let's go. Okay. Hey everyone, it's your bro, Mitch Kimbro. I am here with the Bros of Bro Chat. Now, bros, during the Love Marriage Huntsville reunion, Miss Nell and Melody had a bit of back and forth about the word mentorship. Now, Miss Nell is reminding Melody of the times that she mentored Melody. While Miss Nell was sharing this, Melody laughed.
I have mentored you in the past. What you mentor me in? Okay, here we go. What you know what? Okay, now Miss Nell. Yes, it was majority Martell, but it was both of you. And I put in that time, in those hours, in countless nights, into the wee hours of the morning. And I didn't take that lightly.
Damian, do you think that Melody laughing at what Miss Nell was saying, do you think it was disrespectful? Or do you think that Miss Nell is misinterpreting this whole relationship?
No, I think it was disrespectful, and I only think it validates what Destiny and a lot of others have said when it comes to Melody and being condescending. This is one of the things that I'm talking about right here. This woman, first of all, in the past, this woman has, whether you want to use mentor, give advice, be a friend, whatever. She was there for Melody during a really difficult time when all that was going on with her and Martell. So for her to go, aha, and spin around and do all the theatrics, that's very condescending. And especially if I see my friend who is saying, hey, this is how I feel from what you said, why would you make a remark like that? All she had to do was say, no, I don't feel like you were my mentor. You didn't have to go, what? So yeah, I didn't agree with it. I felt like it was disrespectful. So yeah.
Eric?
I'm kind of in the middle. I think for me personally, having gone through losing a parent like that, I'm a little more sensitive to it, maybe. Maybe I'm like, that's something you shouldn't laugh at regardless whether we're messing with each other or not. But I think that Melody went into this reunion almost without emotions. And I think she went into it with a callousness about her that I haven't seen in other reunions. She's less open. She's more pointed in what she's saying and more, I don't know. That's how I saw it.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think Melody's justified to be checked out. She has a lot coming at her as an avalanche in her direction. From Destiny pulling out these, my perception of this, grooming this, like it is a lot coming at her in this direction. And Melody, a lot of times, no one has her back. So when you're on this island all by yourself and you're meant to defend yourself, of course you're gonna just check out instead of engaging in it. 'Cause I think that Melody's over it.
But does that was before the reunion, though? You know, she did this in a scene during the season.
Can we talk about that scene for a second? Because I have some thoughts on that scene. So on that scene, and context-wise, Melody has recently confirmed on an Instagram Live that that Nell, she was never calling Nell on the phone late at night. They never called them around to their house for counseling sessions. It was, hey, do you want to come over for a barbecue, playing cards, and they were hanging out. And then sometimes it went into that, but she was never calling her personally for that. And she's saying, I have a therapist, I have a mother, and those are the people that I speak to about it. In that scene specifically, and I'm not saying Miss Nell, because we've seen clearly in the show that Nell has offered support, but I don't think offering support to a friend is mentorship. I wouldn't say I mentor any of my friends, even though I may give advice. And I think the reason that Melody was so annoyed in that scene and she laughed the way that she did is because she was confronting Nell, because again, Nell is someone who was involved in the situation, and now knowing Melody's the victim of abuse, went and sat on an interview which Melody pulled out, and she said, you guys are both she said Melody and Martell are equally as draining as each other, and sometimes I just have to stop speaking to them because they get so tiring and stuff like that.
It gets draining.
Draining? Who draining you?
It does. I get mad at both of them.
I like that about you. You hold both of them accountable. You don't favor either.
I get mad at both of them, and I won't talk. I get mad. I won't talk to them.
You get mad. You won't talk to him.
She's hard-headed too. She's just as hard-headed as he is, unfortunately. Stubborn.
Look at all these things you're saying about a friend. I think you've been through more with Martell than you've been through with me. I don't call you a lot.
That too.
I don't bother.
Putting the same responsibility on her as Martell, saying they're equally draining, Miss Nell saying that, I think it's insensitive to the abuse. And
I understand where you're coming from, but it's one of those things where it's everybody in the cast is saying the exact same thing. There has to be some truth to it. The one thing we do here, the one thing that we do here. Well, I'm telling you,
everybody's just delusional. Then
on the show.
This is what I'm saying. Let Eric finish his point. You didn't let me finish to be able to rebuttal. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't. If everybody is saying both of you are incredibly draining to talk to about this situation, how can there not be any truth to that? I do agree with you that you shouldn't put blame on a victim, but I think that their mess is so convoluted that it's not as black and white as everybody's trying to say. I think that's the difference. I think there is a little bit of gray area. To be honest with you, I'm exhausted as an audience member dealing with their trauma and their drama. I don't care enough about it anymore. I wish they would move on to another topic. We have been talking about Martell and Melody since season 1. Back and forth constantly over and it's draining. Are y'all not exhausted? I'm exhausted.
Can I say something else though? Just to double back to what Victor was mentioning when it comes to whether or not Nell counseled Martell and Melody. And the reason why I'm so adamant about this is because I feel like I remember hearing the word mentor a lot in the past working on the show, but if you go back to season 4 or 5, I think it was 4 or 5, there's a scene. It's before Nell and Chris joined the show, okay? And they had joined the show, but they were like part-time. They weren't full-time. They weren't in the intro. And Martell and Melody go over to the Fletchers, who aren't on the show yet. In the confessional, they say something along the lines of, we're going over to the Fletchers today because in the past, they've counseled us.
I'm not appreciating this sneaky intervention. But Chris and Nell have counseled us many times, so I do respect them enough to at least listen to what they have to say.
they've mentored us on our marriage because Chris Fletcher cheated on Nell in the past. So they would go over and get advice from them and do this counselship, whatever you want to call it. So that's why I'm sort of like, why is Mel acting so brand new with it like it didn't happen? It makes me think, did something happen with their friendship when Nell joined the show? Has she changed or something to where Melody's now like, you know what, I don't want to claim anything with you? Because like you guys said, she was very pointed at everybody and guarded, and it did seem like, you know, she was a little bit of a target too.
Right. Well, I think she's guarded because I don't think people have her back. And knowing that cast members knew about the revenge porn and were acting brand new about it at the start of season 8, but they knew about it. And then you were even having
That is fair.
Marsau saying, well, we don't know both sides, when he knew damn well that he saw the footage. I think that's why she was so defensive. And to go back with what you were saying, Nell admitted in that very scene that she spent a lot more time with Martell on the phone, a lot more time with him. She admitted that she spent more time with him, and she should have said that he was more draining. So she's admitted that. She knows that
But you're
she
telling
spent
her
more
how
time.
she feels. She
No, but
might
she
have felt
admitted
they
that.
were both, but yeah, she might have talked to him more, but she said she felt that they were both draining. Do you know what I'm saying? So you
Yeah.
can't say that she should have
No, she said equally.
Martell did
She
it.
said they're both as
I
hard-headed as
know.
each other. And she
You
said she
don't
was
think that
wrong for...
though? I think that's kind of true. I think that they're both
But
kind of
I don't
hard-headed
think that's
people.
true. I don't think that's true. And she admitted it was wrong when
Melody
Melody
looks like
confronted
a
her.
hard-headed
Like
person.
she admitted that she was...
In what way do you think she's hard headed? Like,
She's just I don't like to use the word hard-headed because I'm not trying to disrespect her. I just mean that she's a very
Stubborn.
confident, stubborn, and she's an unwavering person. That's a better term. I feel like she's a very unwavering person. Yes, I believe she's a very unwavering. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you get that guard when you are someone who's been the victim of abuse, when you are told you're not good enough for me all the time. When this stuff happens, I think you are guarded. But to go back to what I was saying, Nell knows that she spends a lot more time with Martell, that he's a lot more draining, and she put the narrative that they both bother her equally as much, which wasn't true. They're both equally as draining, and she apologized because she said it was wrong. And do I think it was right for Melody to laugh at the word mentorship? No, but I don't think that Miss Nell mentored Melody, and I think she may have mentored Martell. And I think based off what Miss Nell admitted that she did to Melody publicly and said about her that was wrong, Melody was justified for having some type of reaction that was a bit hostile.
yeah. And also, Miss Nell did apologize to Melody for what she said in that interview because, like Victor said it was wrong. But also, Miss Nell reflected that it actually turned out to not have been true. After she did some deep reflection and talked with Melody directly in that scene because Melody has acknowledged that Miss Nell has been a friend. She has been a friend to me. Melody has been very clear about that. But there's this word mentorship that I think it's being lost. I think that's where the disconnect is
Yeah, I think it's
because
the word.
It's a semantics game. She's playing a semantics game.
Because Melody did
That's what she
acknowledge.
does.
No, I think there's misrepresenting the relationship. I think Miss Nell misrepresented the relationship and used the validation and used the advice that she gave her to put this narrative that Melody is equally as draining as Martell. And I think for a survivor of abuse, I think that was extremely insulting to Melody, which is why Miss Nell got the reaction she did.
Yeah, because listen, like I was trying to say before, they do have a relationship. They do have a friendship. And Melody was clear that she was a listening ear for me. She listened to me during that time. But is that word of mentorship, like Damian was saying, that's what's getting lost there, and Eric was saying it as well. But come on. I think that when we're looking at Melody, we're watching this reunion, and the bros on Bro Chat are watching it, and people looking in. We know that there are members on that stage, members of the cast that knew about the revenge porn content that withheld it from Melody and pretended as if they did not know. So I think Melody it's very clear and it's very justified to be tapped out, disconnected from this group And I would even say this show with her departure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. And I think the show's going to suffer a loss without her being there. So, but I understand why she left, because we all have limitations and boundaries of how
Mm-hmm.
much we can take. And now that
Mm-hmm.
it's getting into a legal case, I
Mm-hmm.
think I understand why it's not a good environment for her.
And I
I
know
think
there's
she'll
a
be
lot
back
of.
in due time.
So you think
Sorry.
that Melody will return?
Yeah. I'm not saying next season she'll be back, but I think give it some time, she'll be back. If the show's still around, we'll see.
Yeah. So I know that Eric was saying about being exhausted about the Martell and Melody story, but I think there has to be a lot of acknowledgement with the fact that a lot of these cast members, they've benefited in a big way from Melody pain and issues and how that's been a centerpiece storyline throughout seasons. They've all benefited, and it's the reason why there's a show to join. And the fact that Melody has left the show, and I have not seen.
I think that's so
Well, let
discrediting
me
to
say
the
this
rest of the
last.
cast.
Let me say this last part. I have not seen anyone thank Melody for her contribution on this show. I haven't seen anyone do that. What I've seen instead is people like Destiny or people like others really lock and load it in her direction on really trying to nail her for things that I just don't think are fair.
Okay.
What should they thank her for? So
I think they should thank.
for making the pitching the show?
Yeah, it was her concept.
Well, it's called.
So
I
there
don't
would
like
be
to
no
say
show.
that.
There'd be no show without Melody if she
That's
didn't.
Yeah,
true. Well,
Melody created
I
the
mean,
show.
her and Martell had a home improvement idea. That to me is not Love and Marriage Huntsville. Would there
Yeah, but
be a Love and Marriage
yeah.
Huntsville without Melody? No, there would
No.
not be. But to me, I feel like it's discrediting to Carlos when we say Melody created the show. That's just my opinion because
Or the
he took the
producers,
sauce.
or the other cast members, or
But
like
I think
Right,
it,
everybody
I think
else.
it
exactly.
discredit. I think it
But
discredits
but
Melody to
Mitch, to be
not
very
acknowledge the
fair, we're
fact
not.
that
When
she brought the initial idea for something.
the thing is, what I realize I don't like discussing this show is because I feel like people go so hard for Melody, they put blinders on, so that when people are just critiquing her a little bit, it becomes this big thing. And I'm like, girl, I don't even hate her, but you guys make
No.
me hate her because there's such it's Melody's
Are you
right,
talking about? Are you
Melody's
talking about
right.
me and Victor defending her?
No, I mean in general. In
Oh,
general, like
The
I said,
fan
why I don't
base.
like speaking about it because it feels ridiculous. There's nobody in my world that you can critique on that I'm going to go that hard for. It's crazy to me. It don't make no sense. Mariah Carey, I take it back. Mariah Carey, I am going to jail for Mariah Carey. Everybody else, no. But for Melody, yes, she did create the show. If she is such the star, they could have just done a show like they've done with other couples, the Melody and Martell show. So to say that she's the only reason, she is a big factor, without a doubt. But everybody played games. Everybody played into that. There could have been other storylines, but you don't think that they were suffocated by this storyline specifically? You know what I mean? You can't discredit everybody's work and just say, Melody, Melody, Melody. That I don't like because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for me.
But at the same time, I think what Mitch is saying is Melody, as someone who has been such a big part of the show, as someone who did come with that concept, should be given a bit more grace. And when we were literally seeing Destiny call Melody a groomer, everyone calling her out, Destiny bringing up all these unrelated stories.
I just have a problem with giving someone grace over another because they deserve it. That's weird.
To call someone a groomer and just attack someone, they have no respect for her. And especially as someone who was so pivotal in the success of the show, you don't see that respect. You see someone who's consistently attacked in the reunion. And I think that's what Mitch was trying to say.
No, I understand. I just don't feel that way. I don't see it that way. I see it as someone who had a really shitty thing be exposed on a very public platform.
I don't think anything
was her marriage was exposed.
Yeah.
Like all of that was exposed on a platform.
We saw her being abused. Yeah.
This is why I don't like discussing Melody.
why? It's because of what Victor just said. Like what Victor
It's because there's no concept of trying to understand the other side, which is, yes, she was abused. She also signed a contract to put it on television. So she was a part of it. She was a driving force.
Let me say,
which means she knows people are going to talk about it. That's what I'm saying.
And you profited off of it.
As a victim of abuse myself, as people who I know who are abused, if it was that bad, I really don't think it should have been on TV.
Whoa. We can't say it wasn't that bad.
I know it's that bad.
We can't say it wasn't that bad. We can't say it wasn't that bad.
I think he's saying from like the perspective you're coming, like
I'm trying. You're missing.
I missed that. What?
Because what I keep saying is I don't like talking about Melody because everybody, as soon as I say something, it gets flipped on me. Because and it's I'm attacking Melody, and this is an example of it. The point that I'm trying to make. The point that I'm trying to make is
Melody. I never said that. I'm just saying there's a level of sensitivity when it comes to someone who's a victim of abuse.
I agree. I agree. I'm not disputing that, and I'm not going to dispute that. That's not the part I'm disputing.
What are you disputing?
I think. Wait, what?
What are you disputing based off what we're saying? Because you said right now.
I'm good. I don't really want to further that.
Okay.
Well, the thing about Bro Chat is the four of us, we're meant to come from four different worlds to discuss these topics. This is what makes it so interesting. I don't think anyone's closed off. I just think we have very strong points of view, and we're here to represent our point of view with conviction. So there are people in the comment section that really agree with Eric, or really agree with Damian, or really agree with what Victor is saying, and there are going to be spirit debates, not only here on Bro Chat, but also in the comment section. Well, everyone looking in, make sure that you like this video and let us know what you think about Melody and Miss Nell.
I like Melody, and I feel like every time I talk about her, it seems like I don't, but I genuinely do like her. A smart businesswoman like that is... A masochist is not a bad thing. I said I was a masochist for things too.
And you said that she enjoyed pain.
That's a masochist. I think you should learn that definition. I don't think you understand the definition properly, and I think that's why you're making that face, because I actually love her. I think she is super smart. I think she's super witty. I think she's super charismatic. I mean, she got the millimeters like no joke. She goes, and they can do whatever she wants.
I don't think the millimeters are kind of just following her. I think there are
yeah, showing up at someone's job and someone's house, yeah, girl, no, that's inappropriate on her name. They did it on behalf of Melody.
But Eric, the person who went to Destiny's house was a content creator who was going there as it was part of an open house.
Well, I'm going to speak, and if anybody's going to do something on my behalf and in my name, and I don't agree with it, I'm going to say something about it. So that's how I feel.
As Eric said, Melody is a producer. Of everyone on the cast, she gets it. You know, she knows how this game works.
Well, Tamar, we didn't get your opinion. Do you think that text message, Destiny's calling out that text message as inappropriate? Do you think that text message was inappropriate?
Honestly,
today was the last day where you will see the 5 bros of Bro Chat all together. Hey everyone, it's your bro, Mitch Kimbro. I'm here with the bros of Bro Chat. Now, bros, the Love Marriage Huntsville reunion was intense. Destiny is accusing Melody of grooming and propositioning Destiny and others for a threesome.
But you said you were nervous. Act like you weren't going around trying to have threesomes with your husband.
Girl, you are lying. Girl, you
weren't open to it.
I've never.
All right, well, let's run it.
You know what?
Did you not get on your knees and slob on a hook and a crook in the back of the limo on your 10-year anniversary in front of all of these people?
Let me ask you something.
Did it happen?
What does that have to do with the
Did it happen?
What does that have to do with propositioning?
And you want to act like these women, everybody jumps to me, they don't respect you.
What does that have to do with
propositioning
a threesome, Destiny?
You were grooming again. There's no reason for you to be slobbing
say
on a hook and a crook in front of married men and women.
Damian, do you think that Destiny went too far accusing Melody of grooming?
I had to put myself in her shoes in this situation, and if I did put myself in her shoes, I wouldn't feel that way. Maybe I'm just a little bit freaky, I don't know. But when I think about it, Destiny's feelings are valid, and if she felt that way in that moment, who am I to say, well, you can't feel that way? Grooming is a strong word. I think maybe we need to look up the exact definition to see, but overall, like I say, putting myself in that situation, I wouldn't call it that. But again, if that's how she felt, who am I to say, no, you can't feel that way?
Now, Victor, you're giving a lot of expression, which is telling me a lot. Tell me, what do you think about this whole thing?
Well, choices were made, and good choices were not made, I don't think. I think that Destiny seems like she really wanted to maybe get back at Mel for things she felt during the season, maybe with Sunny. So it was chucking everything against the wall and seeing what stuck. I think that especially with the situation with Diddy at the moment, grooming is such a big word and has such a big implication legally as well. And I think that by Destiny using the word grooming, I think it was inaccurate, and B, I also kind of think it's defamation in a way. I think for her to say, because you talk to someone about having sex and have those conversations, that it means that you want to do that with that person. I don't think it means that. I think we can all talk about having sex without having the implication of wanting to do that with someone. And I think if she did feel groomed, if she did feel nervous staying in that house, then why are you still friends with Martell? And why are you putting more responsibility on Melody than Martell for the so-called grooming?
Eric,
She wasn't in the limo, right? Sorry. I just want to clarify something. I'm thinking she's in the limo, but anyway, sorry.
Which is another thing. Why are you bringing up the limousine, and why are you bringing up the text messages between Marsau and Melody that has nothing to do with you? That just makes me think you're trying to throw everything against the wall against Melody to make her look inappropriate.
The thing about it is Destiny is being very outspoken. Destiny is very outspoken about what happened at this limousine, in this limousine, where she says, alleges, I wasn't there, that Melody gave Martell fellatio in front of the other couples on their 10th wedding anniversary. Now, Destiny wasn't there. So I don't understand why Destiny is being so outspoken about an incident that she was not there for. Eric, what do you think?
Well, I think we know why. I don't think it's like a secret on why she has an issue with Mel. It's because of the whole thing with Sunny. I believe that she fully believes that Melody was involved in some way of Sunny coming on the show and being a part of that whole storyline. So I think that all bets were off at that point, and I think she was just like, "Well, I'm gonna spill your tea. If you're gonna spill my tea, you're gonna get this person on the show with me." Because when we did one of the first times we saw it, it was at one of Melody's events. The first time we saw Sunny, so I can see the correlation. I can see how she felt that way. I agree with the grooming. I don't believe that we should be using that word specifically with everything that's happening in the world and the political climate that we're in. I do think there's a ring of truth because the way that the rest of the cast reacted when she was saying something wasn't so. Sorry, I put this lightly. They weren't surprised. And I feel like if I never heard this before and then this was said, I'd be a little bit more surprised. I'd be a little bit more like, juxtured by it or like affected by it, but they didn't seem that way, which made me feel like there was a ring of truth to some of it. I don't know how much, but that's just from my perspective and what I saw on this TV.
Just to respond to that quickly, I think that she was trying to maybe spill her. I think the whole accusation of Melody and Sunny planned this storyline together, I think that was bogus.
I kind of can see it because Melody produces a lot. Well, I think there's not going to be. It's like you don't leave paper trail for that. I don't feel like there's like going to be something that she can concrete.
She was trying to spill Melody's tea, but the cup was empty.
I think so.
No tea.
I don't think it was empty though. I think that's the point. I think that's why there's so much conflict. It wasn't empty.
Surprised because it seemed like with a lot of what was coming at Melody, that there were some conversations that happened prior to this reunion. He's trying to use Destiny as a medium to maybe communicate some of the things that he wants out.
Let's go back to what Eric said because I don't believe that Melody was pre-planning this storyline between Moses and Sunny and Destiny. I definitely don't think so because Melody doesn't need more story. She doesn't need to be attached
done
to
it
more
before.
story.
About her being, I don't think it's about her needing a story. I
He's
think
done it before.
she's a producer. You can see, I
Exactly.
think she's fabulous at it. Please do not get me wrong. I think she's really great at it. But I do believe that she does have an element to her that produces in the same way Kyle Richards does. There's a bunch of girls that when they get on the show and they stay on for so long, they like to try to position themselves. Nene tried to do it for a while. Kenya's tried to do it. This is something we've seen over and over in multiple shows. Is when one of the sector characters becomes like the main character. Am I wrong? So Kyle Richards didn't do that?
Yeah,
Kyle Richards does it every season.
I agree with you about the examples. I just don't agree with the correlation with Melody because
Melody has done it before.
What I see with these other women is I see them trying to deflect from their own storylines, their own marriages, and their own.
Well, if they're talking about Sunny and Destiny, they're not just talking about Martell and
let Victor finish.
I feel like Melody has been in a situation that I would describe and I was characterized as abusive. I don't think she's tried to deflect from that at all. I think she's been very, very vulnerable, outspoken in her whole journey. I think lots of the people that you mentioned are people who tried to deflect stuff onto other people because they didn't want their stuff being talked about. But I don't think Melody has a need to do that.
But I don't think she wants it talked about anymore. So I think she went and got another story. There was another story presented to her, and she's like, we can focus on this and we don't have to focus on my story so much. I don't disagree with you. I agree that she was in an abusive relationship. I agree that she did go through a lot of harsh things on TV. You can't say some of the others didn't. I just feel like that's part of what these shows are, is showing those parts of yourself. It's unfortunate, but that is what we're watching for. We're not going to watch her go like and drink tea in the middle of Huntsville.
Said that she disagreed with what Sonny had done to Destiny, and she didn't.
Just because that's just how I see it. I see her producing.
I think I do not, because when I look at Destiny, she's constantly taking her perception of events and treating them as fact. Because
everybody does that, though. I feel like everybody, including in our cast,
the point I'm raising is about Destiny, because it is not transparency to present information without factual background. There's never factual background attached to what Destiny puts out there. For instance, when Destiny brought up the text message exchange with Marsau and Melody, trying to treat that as inappropriate behavior when it was very clear that it was above board. Not one time did we see Melody go after Destiny at the reunion. Destiny was locked and loaded to go after Melody for whatever reason. But
why?
That there was exactly why, because
They're doing it behind the scenes.
But there was a comment made in the beginning of the reunion that stuck with me. Is when Carlos came into her dressing room and she goes, "I know y'all are trying to make me look like I'm messy or I'm bad or hard to work with, but you know I'm not."
And then
said that in her dressing room.
So she is messy. That's the thing. The whole Marsau situation. Let's talk about it for a second. So
no, Victor, Marsau.
Marsau. Isn't I'm
just kidding. Well, Tisha didn't stick by Martell. She didn't stick by him.
No, I'm not saying Tisha. I'm saying Marsau.
Marsau. I'm just kidding. Just a joke.
Oh my god. So Marsau texted he texted Melody when Melody and Martell were having issues, saying, I'm rooting for you both.
Yeah.
And then Melody texted back saying, rooting for us both or just me? Understandably, she was feeling a type of way about Martell. How that is evidence for her case about Melody being inappropriate and grooming potentially, I don't understand.
It's not.
And I see Destiny doing a lot of stepping down from the stuff that she was saying. I think we saw when Destiny earlier in the season came with the whole thing about Melody training the women. She later apologized. She said, I shouldn't have said that. We saw with what she was saying in this very reunion of her using the word grooming, she explained on her Mental Mondays on YouTube that when saying grooming, she meant like preparing the idea, having conversations. But that has a very different connotation from the modern context of grooming. And she clarified that she wasn't scared with Melody and Martell. But then on the reunion, she said that she was nervous staying in their house. So there seems to be lots of kind of contradiction and half stepping down based off what she's saying, which leads me to believe that there's a lack of credibility in what she's saying when we keep hearing these clarifications that become something different.
Right. Well, Tamar, we didn't get your opinion. Do you think that that text message, Destiny's calling out that text message as inappropriate? Do you think that that text message was inappropriate?
Honestly, I didn't really think about the text message. I really just wanted to get down to the nitty gritty of the threesome. But as far as the text message, I really didn't like it. Like, to be honest, I didn't like it.
Why?
I just didn't. It was just nasty.
I didn't think the text message was nasty. I didn't.
But can I say something just to defend my girl for a minute?
Yeah, defend your girl. Defend your girl.
Pointing at me. Not for me.
No, planning storylines is not far-fetched. As Eric said, Melody is a producer. Of everyone on the cast, she gets it. You know, she knows how this game works.
Yeah.
And she's done it before, okay? Back in season 2. And before COVID hit, some things happened, and she was allegedly planning to bring someone on the show to do some things. So, and also, why would Destiny just pull that out of the air?
Who is she planning to bring?
We'll talk about that off air.
Oh, okay. So it's like behind the scenes tea.
Well, I mean, you know, you say things, folks.
Go wild,
and send you nasty DMs and stuff like that. So, but my point being, people plant scenes. And listen, if I was on a show, it probably crossed my mind too. It's a game, and you've got to play the game. And again, I don't think Destiny would just out of thin air say Sunny, Melody, and Moses got together and planned a storyline. I don't think she just pulled it out of thin air.
I think she would.
Okay.
The thing that's missing though, what's missing though from what Destiny's saying, Damian, is the proof.
Exactly.
If Destiny would present proof with the things that she's saying, then I'm able to have a better understanding of what she's talking about. But the thing about it, she's throwing out these allegations about Melody as if Melody is conspiring against her. When Damian, just a few bro chats ago, the two of us, me and you, we were talking about that scene at the staircase where Destiny apologized to Melody. They had a heartfelt moment of "I love you,"
and that was edited.
And I felt that it was the strangest thing to see Destiny apologize, but then do all this afterwards at the reunion, as if the relationship, the apology, is insincere. And
that's Damian's friend. I mean, did you see proof? I mean, like, you know her personally, don't you?
No, I didn't see any proof.
Okay.
Oh, so no one's seen proof. Okay.
But I mean, hey, anytime
real.
And 1 second, Eric. Anytime anyone says something on these shows now, we need proof. No matter what it is, I want the proof.
I want the proof too.
Okay, we'll get it. Sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
It's just very confusing because I think I like Melody, and I feel like every time I talk about her, it seems like I don't, but I genuinely do like her. But I also feel like a smart businesswoman like that is people are masochists.
What's that?
A masochist is someone who enjoys essentially like pain. So like people who like go to the same man who keeps breaking up with them, there's a part of them that enjoys that.
I don't think Melody's a masochist. I don't.
I think she can be. I think she can be a little bit. You see the way that she moves and the way she kind of always accepts him and stuff. I can see her being a little bit of a masochist.
I don't think she enjoys pain.
A masochist is not a bad thing. I said I was a masochist for things too.
And you said that she enjoyed pain.
That's a masochist. That is a masochist.
Yeah, but listen, I think that looking at, and because you did say that on a previous bro chat, looking at all what Melody has been through,
I wasn't even finished.
Oh, okay, sorry, yeah. Go.
I know that's right, Eric. Period.
No. You're right. I'm gonna say my point, but you go first. You go first. No, you're right.
You can't call Melody a masochist. I believe sometimes she could be a masochist, and I could be a masochist. I think everybody in this world could be masochistic at times. I think you should learn that definition. I don't think you understand the definition properly, and I think that's why you're making that face, because being a masochist is not a bad thing. That's not saying you're a bad person. I can do things that I may not like, that I intentionally may not know are good for me, and I do them because there's a part of me that does it. That's being a masochist. That's not a bad thing. I don't understand the negative connotation of being a masochist. It's freaking me out.
Don't be freaked out.
Because I wasn't saying it as if she's a bad person. Being a masochist means that she puts herself.
The point you raised, but
the point that I was making was that I do like Melody, and I think that she's an incredibly smart businesswoman, and I don't think she's someone who would leave a trail. That was the point I was making. I don't think she's the woman who's going to make certain moves and then leave a paper trail, because she's a smart businesswoman. She's brilliant. That's what I'm saying. I actually love her. I think she is super smart. I think she's super witty. I think she's super charismatic. I mean, she got the millimeters like no joke. She goes and they just do whatever she wants.
I don't think the millimeters are kind of just following her. I think there are people
showing up at someone's job and someone's house. Yeah, girl, no, that's inappropriate on her name. They did it on behalf of Melody.
But Eric, the person who showed up at her job was someone who came in the car park, a 90-year-old woman, 90, who came up, who was actually trying to sort out an online order with her friends, and there's actually car park footage outside, and the person who approached
I have a very hard time.
Was a 90-year-old woman, and they were coming to sort out payments.
Okay.
See, clearly in the video, the woman wasn't coming to curse her out. The woman was coming peacefully. And the person who went to Destiny's house was a content creator who was going there as it was part of an open house. And he shouldn't have come in still, but it was an open house that he came in.
Well, I'm going to speak. And if anybody's going to do something on my behalf and in my name, and I don't agree with it, I'm going to say something about it. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, right, but I don't think. That's
fine. I just disagree.
I don't think Melody was getting anyone to do anything.
I said that 3 times. I don't think that she was doing it either. But if someone's going to do something in my name, I'm going to say I don't agree with you doing that in my name.
Right.
That's all. That's my point.
But I don't think people who sympathize with Melody, who is a woman who's been abused, is then her being this Pied Piper who has control over people. I think people feel passionate because they can identify with that.
I didn't say you're misconstruing what we're saying. I'm not saying she's a Pied Piper. I said she produces within the show, which is not, I'm not saying every single person in her life she's controlling. I'm saying that in the show, she has a lot of control, and she has Carlos's ear, and you can see it at almost every reunion. They are always kikiing together. I don't know what happened, though. That would be a great question to see what happened, because they don't seem like they're cool anymore. Yeah. But she was definitely a crowd favorite, but she was also Carlos's favorite. She was a network favorite. And when you're the teacher's pet, you're going to get more say over everybody else. That's just how the business works.
Yep.
And that's just...
I just don't think she's as calculated as she.
I do. I don't think she. I said I don't think it applies to her whole life. I think when it comes to the show, she is a very smart businesswoman, and she's very she cares about her perception and the way that she is seen. And I think that she can calculate and manipulate things based on how she wants it to be seen. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but it makes me believe certain things that are said about her. That's it.
Well, what did she do specifically to make you believe that?
Her attitude, her demeanor, the way that she walks, the way she talks to people, the way she walks into scenes, the way that she can tell that the scenes are more edited to her in her favor. You can tell when an editor likes someone and doesn't. An example, like, not to bring another show into it, but if you look at Beverly Hills, we would have never gotten a flashback of Kyle Richards lying a million times. This season, all of a sudden, we got it.
But is there something
out of nowhere? But you can tell when the producers are messing with someone or when they're not messing with someone. They're storytelling.
But on Melody's behalf specifically, is there something that she has done in any of the scenes to make
that? No, that's what I keep telling you. It's the way that I perceive her. This is my perception, my understanding of what I'm
Eric's talking about the edit. talking about the edit almost that she is protected. Some people think Melody's protected and that she gets a
He
favorable
was
edit.
up until this season.
That's what I'm saying. I think this season it changed a little bit, but that's what makes me believe. So I'm not going to say I believe everything everybody's saying, but that's what makes me believe like there's probably not going to be certain proof of certain things because I don't think she's a dumb woman. I think she's an incredibly smart woman who wouldn't leave a paper trail. That's the only point that I'm trying to make.
And when has she had a bad season?
But Eric, Melody is not responsible though. She's not responsible for the edit on this show. She doesn't have any influence on her Pacific edit. She doesn't.
I disagree with that.
She's not in the editing room.
Yes, but I know people who are producers, and I know that that's how it works. This is something that's how the industry works. They've talked about it so many times. You see it even when like Teresa flipped out on the producers at that party when they told her that she told that girl to pull Meg's ponytails. You see her going in that back room, and you can tell that she was mad that they were setting her up and not telling her. Like there's certain things that I don't think, again, I'm going to say this. I don't think it's wrong either. That's the producer's job. Your job is to tell a story because none of us are going to be watching or talking about it unless they give us a compelling story. And we just can't see them walking around drinking tea all day. Like we just can't do that. So I do get it, but I do believe that there are fan favorites, there are network favorites, and they get better edits. And depending on how the network feels about them is how that edit is displayed. And they do control that.
100%.
Yeah. I do believe that. But I don't want to say anything against Melody because I think she's an incredibly smart, beautiful woman. And I love what she did with her platform. I do love that. I respect that a lot.
Yeah, but listen, the reason why I mentioned before, challenging your point that you raised about masochists and enjoying pain, I do not think that Melody enjoys the pain that her castmates have put on her or what Martell has put her through. I don't think that Melody has enjoyed that pain. I don't think that's something that she has wanted or has been open to.
Masochism usually is something subconscious. It's not something that you're like thoroughly enjoy. I'm explaining it horribly. I'll be honest with you. I'm explaining the definition horribly. I believe there's like people that thrive in drama, that love drama, but they'll say that they don't like drama. You guys don't watch Sister Wives, but Robin would be one of them. And that's the kind of feeling that I'm trying to talk about. That's just my opinion and my perspective of what I see.
But Eric, it can get a bit tricky when we're talking about a masochist being someone who is a victim of abuse and revenge porn. And we've seen scenes where Martell has been shouting at Melody, "You're not the woman who I want you to be." So I think it gets a little bit tricky using that word in such a sensitive relationship when it comes.
That's fair. That's fair.
But back to Destiny. The big issue that I have with Destiny is the fact that she's treating her perception as being true. And also the point that Victor raised about she's walking back. She's walking back what she said about grooming, trying to say that she didn't mean the grooming in a legal sense, in an illegal sense. She didn't mean it that way. But that word grooming, that could ruin Melody's professional career, her personal life. It has huge implications. And it's not so easy to where you can just walk it back and almost treat it as if you didn't say it in the first place.
Yeah, it's irresponsible.
It's irresponsible.
I see what you're saying with the word grooming, but I just wanted to point out that the definition is the practice of preparing or training someone for a particular purpose or activity.
Yeah, no one was training Destiny.
It's the kind of, I get what they're saying. It's the connotation along with it and the political stand that we're in. That's what they're trying to get at.
Yeah, well,
which I've said multiple times. I agree. I said it multiple times. I agree with that.
I got the definition of masochist too.
Let's hear it.
So Damian's a group researcher.
A person who enjoys an activity that appears to be painful or tedious. There's also a sexual part too. A person who derives sexual gratification from their own pain or humiliation.
That's not what I meant.
Tamar, you're quiet today. Tamar, you're quiet today. What's going on?
Nothing. You are a little quieter than normal.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
I don't want to lose you on today's bro chat.
No, I'm just taking it all in. I'm just listening. And just
but what do you think about Melody versus Destiny? Well, like, what's your take on it?
At the end of the day, I really think that I really think that it's all stupid and it all just went somewhere where it shouldn't even go. Like that's why I said, like, at the end of the day, if y'all wanted to just have a threesome, y'all would have a threesome. You don't have to sit there and say like, "Hey, I'm grooming." Like, I get where Damien and Eric are what they're saying with their friend Destiny and how she's using that word and how she didn't mean it. Like, I get it. We all use bad tricks. Well, Damien's friend. I mean, it can be Eric's friend too.
Let's keep Damien has gone. So let's.
But I think that when it really comes down to it, we all use bad choices of words, and that was just a bad choice of word on her end, and it's kind of like not her fault because they have to relive these things again and again and again. They have to relive conversations about 3 times. Like even after you apologize, it's still going to get brought back up. And then who's to say if you'll be beefing again about the whole situation? So it's like, damn, well, I thought we just got over it and you apologized, but now we have this conversation coming up and we have to talk about it. So I just feel as though, like, I get where you guys are coming from. So it's not really more so me saying I'm choosing the side. It's just me saying I think that it was just a poor choice of words, and this whole thing is just going left. Just have the threesome. All right.
The smart thing I just said today.
The threesome.
Hashtag have the threesome.
I guess I don't.
I agree with Tamar.
I don't. I don't look at it as a poor choice of words. I look at it as calculated. If we're talking about calculated, what Destiny did at that reunion is the best example of calculated. Destiny was ready to go after Melody with all of these allegations, and they once had a relationship. And for you to once be friends with someone and take out the Rolodex of every little example that you have to make points against them, that shows that Destiny was never a friend, and the apologies were insincere. The pursuit to make the relationship better, we saw during the season that was insincere as well.
I agree.
Okay. Well, bros, we're gonna. Eric, you don't think so?
No.
Okay. Well, okay. Well,
I can elaborate.
Yeah, okay,
I thought we were towards the end. I just thought we were towards the end.
No, tell me.
I just don't agree. I think that I take for what I see and I judge what I see and what I feel and what I've interacted with people. When I interacted with Destiny, I didn't feel that. That wasn't the vibe I got. That's not the connection. When I talked to her, the way she moved, the way she was speaking, fully unedited her for the hour and a half that we spoke to her, didn't get that vibe. And that's what I'm going off. I've never met Melody, so I can't speak on her behalf. I've only can see what I've been presented in the show, which is why I try not to be so harsh, to be honest with you. But from when I spoke to Destiny, when we spoke to her, I didn't feel that. So I base it more off of that than off of a clip for me.
I'm trying to, but one thing, I don't think we got the answer to this. I don't understand though. Does anybody know, like, why did Destiny go after Melody at that reunion? Like, what is the reason that Destiny just went full force on Melody with the allegations? What was the reason? I don't know why she did that. I don't think Melody deserved it. I don't think Melody deserved it. I don't know why Destiny went there. I don't know why she went there.
Maybe we can find out.
We'll see. Well, we won't see because she won't be back. But
yeah,
we'll just see.
It was unwarranted to me, but well, listen. Everyone listening in,
be back. Sorry.
Melody's gone.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's right. She quit.
So we won't be able to
explore the story.
She'll be back.
Well, listen, everyone looking in, make sure that you like this video and let us know your thoughts on Melody versus Destiny and whose side you're on. We'll see you again next time. All right, good job. Today was the last day where you will see the 5 bros of Bro Chat all together. Tamar is no longer a co-host on Bro Chat. I just want to thank Tamar for his year-long contribution to the Bro Chat panel. He was incredibly entertaining, and I am so happy to have seen so many people connect with him over the year that he was a part of this brotherhood.
We love you, Tamar.
Yeah, we wish him the best. However, that means Bro Chat is going to be introducing you to some brand new faces. We're going to have a guest co-host rotation.
And you, the viewers, are going to be people who we want involved in the conversation. We want to hear from the community who you connect with the most and who you think is going to be the best fit in these debates and in our panel.
And if you want to join the brotherhood, check down in the description.
We look forward to seeing you in that square.